This is good for us, healthy for the heart, nourishing the soul. A full serving of Major League Baseball.
God, bring him home!
This is living done right. The working, the wondering, the waiting. Almost, not quite, just about over.
And this ball drilled deep left field. Gone! The waiting and the wondering is now really over. The White Sox introduced at Comerica Park because this is opening day 2022 from the Motor City. The second one of these for Andrew Vaughn. A lot of first-timers as well for the White Sox, as opening week is presented by FTX, the official crypto exchange of MLB. It is a dreary, cloudy day, but it doesn't matter because we have starting pitchers for you. Lucas Giolito on the mound, the opening day starter against the former Red Sox left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez. And we are absolutely jazzed to bring you White Sox baseball again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, it is great to see your face one more time.
Well, it's nice to see an opening day that seems normal because we haven't had one in 3 years now. Lucas goes to the mound for the third straight time. And one of the new additions to the Tigers, Rodriguez, goes to the mound for them. You know, they needed a veteran in that rotation. They got a lot of kids. Rodriguez is a good one.
Where are you on opening day? Where's your mind? Where's your heart?
I just love opening days because, look, nobody struck out at all. Nobody has lost any games. You still have hopes that you can win. It's just a lot of anticipation, but it's a lot of optimism. For the Tigers, they know they're going to be better. For the Sox, a lot of big things expected. So for them, this is just the start of what they view as a 162-game odyssey that leads not only to the postseason, but could lead to the World Series. I think the guys down there feel that way.
They believe that, that's for sure. A trophy would be very nice. The defending champs of the AL Central will set up the series against an up-and-coming contender here in Detroit. Sox and Tigers opening day. We're here, you're here, and we love that.
Chicago is brought to you in part by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Choose Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, the card to carry through it all. Ford, the 2022 Ford F-150 is tougher and smarter than ever before. For special offers, visit your local Ford dealer or buyfordnow.com today. And by Xfinity, supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
Opening day in lovely Detroit, and that means it is time for our Bell Tire Series setup. This is the first time the Sox have opened in the Motor City. This is really hard to believe. Since 1963, Nellie Fox, Jim Landis, and the White Sox were there that day.
Sox have had their way with the Tigers. Last year they went 12-7. Over the last 3 years, 33-14. So they like the Tigers, but this is a different Tiger team.
This is a Barnum and Bailey run that we got going on here. The greatest showman is Jose Abreu. 25 home runs in his career against Detroit. He loves it here.
There's no doubt that the Tigers last year got off to a terrible start. First month of the season, they were 8-22. However, they finished strong. They were 69-63 over the final 132 games.
Eduardo Rodriguez, you may remember him from the Boston Red Sox. He's the left-hander on the mound today. First Tiger since Kenny Rogers in '06 to make his debut as the opening day starter.
Lucas Giolito goes to the mound, his third consecutive opening day start. The first Sox pitcher to do that since Mark Burley.
We're here. We're ready. You ready?
We set it up. I'm ready.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
First pitch. You know where it is?
Yeah, soon.
Just around the corner.
I like that, too.
In, what, 2 minutes? First pitch of the season. Next.
There's a reason that baseball resonates at the deepest level.
Yes, right field, and the White Sox have the best record in Major League Baseball.
Because of days like this one, where memories are made, and something more profound and more vulnerable are revealed. There are few things romanticized in sports like the start of a new baseball season. Past glory.
Hendricks got him, and for the first time since 2008, Sox fans will see home playoff baseball.
Present opportunity.
Like that. Oh, Eloy Jimenez! Do not walk anyone in front of him. Wow!
We seek out the moments that give us pause and give our goosebumps goosebumps.
Everybody go home!
Today is as much a declaration of identity as it is a baseball game, creating indelible moments that will last a lifetime.
Anderson hits it in the air to right, back at the wall, and the White Sox win it!
Embrace the passion and pageantry. Exceed even the most extraordinary of expectations. What do we know? What don't we? Know this, we're on the way, underway, a long way from the prize. Far from cruel as the victory baseball celebrates in the fall. But pure bliss comes with opening day in April for all.
Pure bliss is right. This is the very first step of so many small to large moments. And you don't know, that's the majesty of baseball, you don't know whether what you're watching right now, one swing, one pitch, is a small moment, a large moment, a turning point, or a blip on the radar screen. We get to live it together at the ballpark and share it. And in his 35th season in a Major League Baseball dugout, Tony La Russa is doing it again as the White Sox manager.
For Tony, an exciting day. He looks for big things from this team.
He lives for winning. Here is your Insure on the Spot starting lineup. Get your free auto insurance quote and save in just 2 minutes at insureonthespot.com. Your opening day starts. A.J. Pollock's got 8 of them. He leads off with Tim Anderson suspended. Jose Abreu, 9 of them. He's killed the ball in season openers, and all the way down to Jake Berger, who gets the opening day start today after his first hit in this very ballpark last year.
Eduardo Rodriguez going to the mound, and last year with the Red Sox, he was a durable fella. 13-8, pretty big year. You know, this is the Motor City. He's going to make it the Cutter City because that's what he uses against right-hand pitchers, right-hand hitters. And as you can see, his four-seamer tops out 93, 94 miles an hour. The changeup, which is outstanding, is 85. His cutter, which he leans on, that's 88. The sinker, that's his two-seamer, along with the slider, rounds out his arsenal. But he gets everything over the plate, and they got him to be the anchor, the veteran presence on a young staff. Jose Abreu has liked what he's seen of him. Eloy Jimenez hasn't seen a whole lot. So because he was with the Red Sox, our Sox haven't seen him all that much. They're going to get a big dose of him this year. And the defense for the Tigers, which is going to be much improved. Meadows in left, Baddoo in center, and Grossman in right. Candelario at third, along with Baez, Scope, and Torkelson. Tucker Barnhart, acquired from Cincinnati, is behind the plate. This is a much improved defense. Last year the defense was awful. This year they think they're going to be strong up the middle.
Guess what time it is, Uncle Steve?
It's ready for the first pitch.
First pitch of the 2022 season. We are so grateful to have you with us. It's on the way, and a strike to A.J. Pollock, the newest White Sox, and today's umpiring crew, presented by FTX, the official crypto exchange of MLB.
Marvin Hudson behind the plate. Adrian Johnson at first, John Tom Payne at center, and Ryan Blackney is at third base.
So it's A.J. Pollock. If you haven't heard, if you were on vacation for the last week and a half, the White Sox traded Craig Kimbrell for A.J. Pollock, who had 21 home runs last year, one of his best power hitting seasons. It came in a Dodger uniform.
He also brought some speed to the lineup, and he can go get him in the outfield. So this was a great late addition to the Sox.
0-2 is downstairs, a sinker from Eduardo Rodriguez. You mentioned that cutter that he throws. He'll mix in the changeup as well. And here's a guy in Eduardo Rodriguez who didn't pitch in 2020. He had COVID and had that heart situation that some people have, myocarditis, that came from COVID-19 for Eduardo Rodriguez, who pitches now with the Tigers after a long run in Boston. And the sizable crowd here thought that he had flirted with strike 3.
Rodriguez throws from the extreme third base side of the pitching rubber, and the reason is because he throws so many cutters into the right-handers. That one just off the plate. Good call by Marvin Hudson, and the at-bat stays alive. In the outfield, they're playing Pollock straight away.
Tucker Barnhart tried to get it for him. Brownsburg native Tucker Barnhart just shifted a little bit.
I think they're going to be pretty happy with Barnhart behind the plate. You see how casually he moved the glove over. still couldn't buy the call.
It's very casual.
Yeah,
Business casual.
you would think so.
3-2. That's called strike 3. A.J. Pollock thought he had taken ball 4. Instead, he gets rung up in his first White Sox regular season at bat. So 1 down for a guy that I know you and I are both very excited to see in a full season. Luis Robert, his last 62 games of his career have been awesome.
Well, exit velocity is among the best in baseball, and when he hits it awfully hard. They're playing him as a dead pull hitter in the infield with Baez very close to Candelario on the left side.
First pitch swing at a 4-seam fastball, and strike 1 to Luis Robert. And one of the reasons he was so much better at the end of last year, the strikeout rate plummeted from his first season.
Well, I think he realized that you can't try to hit everything out of the park, and pitch recognition is a big part of it.
On the ground to third, Jeimer Candelario with a tough pick, and Spencer Torkelson, the former first-round pick and first overall pick, got the scoop as our first innings brought to you by Toyota.
Torkelson out of Arizona State University made the ball club. He's 22 years old, and despite that tender age, he's only the 4th youngest first baseman ever to start for the Tigers. Very athletic at first, not the most gifted glove man at this point. He'll grow into that because the rest of the package is awfully good.
Yeah, he's here for the power, let's be honest. That's the reason they call them torque bombs when he hit him at Arizona State. And we'll see him batting 8th for Detroit, which figures to be an improved team, but they have gotten a face full of Jose Abreu in his career.
Well, he's absolutely killed him, and in this ballpark he loves to take the ball straight away, and odds are overwhelming that on the fastball with Rodriguez he'll stay away from Jose.
As he did right there to clip the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Jose can drive the ball to right center field. This is a huge center field and right and left center field alley. 420 to straightaway center, and you have to really be able to go get him.
Yeah, this is an outstanding triples ballpark.
Yep. And they're using Baddoo in center field. He's not really a center fielder. He could have some problems. That's something to exploit because Riley Green, the guy that will play center field, he's out for 2.5 months with a broken foot.
That happened late in spring training for a former first-round pick. It was going to be Riley and Spencer in their show in the majors as former first-round picks. Very close friends, but it's going to be a little while for them to get together in the majors. 3-1 Rodriguez to Abreu. Ooh, Jose took a big old rip at a middle fastball. All right, so against the AL Central, let's play an edition of Is That Good? Most of it is.
I would say most of it's good. The Guardians have given him some problems, but they do with just about everybody. But against the Tigers, yikes, he's torched them.
Should say 0 against the Guardians. He's never played against the actual Guardians.
Oh, and they're a lot like the Indians were.
Here's ball 4. Jose took a borderline pitch. The crowd groans, and it's just great to be back at a place where the crowd's groaning at missed calls and things like that. We've missed everything about baseball, even 50-degree opening day weather.
Although there's going to be a few that miss this, there's going to probably be 40,000 people here. They will announce a sellout, and a lot of people felt it was supposed to rain today, so maybe they wanted to stay away. So far the rains have stayed away, which is a good thing.
It is a very good thing. And here is Yasmani Grandal, who at the end of last year was destructing the baseball.
As soon as his knee got healthy, he started to turn on everything from both sides of the plate. And he's liable to take one of those cutters and hit it a long way to left field. The wind today, not much of a factor, but it's blowing toward left.
Outside and low off the changeup. 1 ball and 1 strike. He's the prototypical guy of this day and age where batting average matters less than everything else he does.
If he's healthy all year, he's going to be a prolific run producer.
Tried that changeup, just nibbling outside, lefty versus righty, and it's 2-1.
Good thing to look for now is something middle in. He's tried away with a couple of pitches. You look middle in, you're liable to hit it hard down the line and left.
There it was, and it is, and it's foul. 2-2.
Unfortunately got around a little too quickly.
It's our blue sky cleanup hitter, and it's Yasmani Grandal in his final 30 games last year. It felt like every time he came to the plate, he was going for extra bases.
We did a postgame with him, and he told us that that knee was starting to feel good, and almost simultaneous to that, he started turning on everything and was a huge factor going down the stretch.
2-2. It's ball 3. The crowd thought it was strike 3. The crowd seems to think a lot of things are strike 3. They've been right once.
Torkelson at first is probably going to go behind Abreu, who's going to get a running start. By the way, not too many of our Sox are going to be running on Tucker Barnhart. He is real good.
Yeah, tremendous at stopping the run game, as Yaz starts this season as you might have expected. It's ball 4, and the Sox have 2 on with 2 out in this first inning.
Rodriguez looking at his hat, and apparently there's a little card in there that says, what do you do when you walk 2 guys in the first inning and Eloy's coming to bat? Yep, see?
There it is.
Shaking his head. That's exactly what he's looking at.
That would be a long thing to write on a card.
It's very long, yeah, and specific also.
Yeah, very specific
to the situation.
We'll see more pitchers looking into their hats, though, and tinkering with their ears. The PitchCom earpiece has come into play in the regular season, and if you look at guys, sometimes they'll be looking in their hat for the volume control, because some catchers this year will be talking to their pitchers for pitch type and location through that PitchCom system, which we'll get into later on in the telecast, as Eloy takes a borderline strike. Eloy 55 games 2 years ago out of 60. Last year exactly 55 again because of the injury plague 2021.
You would love to see what he can do in a full season, but to do that, he's got to stop diving in left field.
Barnhart blocks it. 1 ball, 1 strike. That changeup's been erratic so far for Rodriguez.
You'd like to take advantage of him before he really hones in on that. And on a cool day, and bear in mind, these guys, just like the Sox, they've been in Florida. Sox were in Arizona, where it's warm each and every day. So it's a little more difficult to get the feel for the straight change, because that truly is a feel pitch. It's not really a velocity pitch.
That stinging chill has come upon us here in Midwest baseball in April. What is it about the changeup that is such a feel situation?
Well, because it's completely different than any other pitch. Any other pitch you throw, it's coming off the end of your fingers and you're throwing it hard. The changeup is one where you use the same arm velocity, but it's not coming off your hand the same, because you have to kill the velocity somewhere in the back of your hand.
You know, we talked about this last year. The Sox were more patient last year than we had seen in many seasons. And this is another good sign. The Sox are waiting out Eduardo Rodriguez here in the first.
Well, they've induced back-to-back walks here in the first inning, something that you just don't see from this team too often.
3-1. Eloy takes a rip at it, and it's foul. 3-2. And you see where the velocity comes up on our new score box. Nice play by a fan. The pitch count is down there next to the name, so 25 pitches for Eduardo Rodriguez.
A labor-intensive first inning, but you don't figure to go much beyond 5 innings anyway. Some guys went into the 6th yesterday in the games that were played, but more times than not, if you can get 5, it's pretty much enough.
Bullpens will be very important this April. It's 3-2. Eloy on the ground, up the middle into center field, and the Sox very soon will be on the board in the first inning of 2022. A ground ball RBI on 3-2.
You cannot keep pitching from behind, especially to quality hitters, and Eloy is one of those. So he takes it right back up the middle, doesn't try to overswing, just makes a concession, tries to make contact. Bias with no chance whatsoever. The Sox on top, courtesy of the 2 walks and the base hit, and a great way to start the season.
You go 2 out, nobody on, and you think, okay, well, you know, it's a long season. This offense might not score in every half inning of 2022. And then suddenly Abreu waits out a walk. Yasmani does what he does. 3 straight full count walks for this team, and Frank Menechino's got to love that. He and Howie Clark.
A certain amount of patience, especially with a pitcher in his first inning, one who hasn't felt the best to this point. And Rodriguez having trouble getting that changeup over the plate.
I got that off the bat of Eloy at 109.5.
It didn't appear to get through as quickly as it actually was. I mean, that's a pretty good exit velocity, and no chance at all for Baez, who is at times a wizard at shortstop.
Leori Garcia looks at a strike, and he's going to be really important. Yoan Moncada starts the year on the injured list with the oblique strain that he ended up with a couple of days ago. So Leori, with Tim suspended today at short this afternoon.
One of the things to bear in mind today is you can run on all three of these outfielders. Meadows in left, but Dew in center and Grossman in right. There's not a great arm amongst them. So every chance Joe McEwen gets, he's going to be sending whoever it is running and trying to put their arms to the test.
It's called a strike. That's been an outside corner that has been fairly generous so far in the first inning to right-handed batters.
We'll take another look. It's close enough, I think.
Yeah, Tucker starts that move back toward the plate well before the ball arrives. That's strike three. There is the cutter, and that will do it. But the Sox get on the board. One run, basically out of whole cloth. So, reason to smile. Hi, Mom. 1-zip Sox. Lucas Giolito to the hill when we come back. An opening day is no exception. And here's now your Insure on the Spot starting lineup for the Tigers. Get your free auto insurance quote and save in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes at insureonthespot.com. Robbie Grossman at the leadoff spot. He walks a lot. Miguel Cabrera in his 19th opening day start. Akil Baddoo, Spencer Torkelson have a combined 2 now as of today.
Lucas Giolito getting his 3rd opening day start. It's always exciting. Last year he threw the ball pretty well, the ERA in the mid-3s, which by and large now is masterful. That's what he's going to use. That four-seamer he's going to lean on. He's probably going to throw a little harder than 94 this year with the added strength. The changeup is wonderful. He throws one high and one low. The slider he feels very good about, and the curveball, I think he's going to mix in more curveballs this year. The key matchups. Miguel Cabrera has seen a lot of them and liked what he's seen. Jeimer Candelario also has seen a lot and liked what he's seen. And Javi Baez sitting close to 500 against him, and that is the $140 million addition to this Tiger team.
See what the Tigers have in terms of resistance this year. As you said in the open, they played a lot of good baseball down the stretch of last season.
Yeah, last 132 games, they were 69 and 33. So when you go the better part of 5 months playing over 500, it was a terrible start that sunk them.
A.J. Hinch in his second season as the skipper of the Tigers in that old English D. As Lucas, there is that curveball.
Yeah, I think he feels pretty good about the curveball these days, and the fact is he's got a release point that he feels comfortable throwing for strikes. Curveball was always good. It was always a big breaking curveball, but he buried so many in the dirt that he just really laid off it, went to the slider and the straight change.
Fastball 2-1. I mean, he's 84 curveballs away from throwing as many as he threw last year already. Threw 85 of them last season.
One thing you have to do with Grossman, you have to throw him strikes. He's one of the most patient, if not the most patient, of the Tiger hitters. You don't get it in the zone, you're going to walk him, and he is a stolen base threat.
A little bit up on the changeup, 3 balls and a strike. So Lucas has been up, and you can imagine that there's some energy, some emotion in an opening day start here once again for Lucas.
Yeah, we also talked about the fact that it's a little difficult with the straight change, which is a mainstay of his arsenal. So he's got to get that feeling coming into his hands sooner rather than later.
That's up. It's a second changeup out of the zone, and Robbie Grossman, the best walk man in this lineup, takes a 5-pitch walk. Lucas Giolito, you see the whiff rate. The swing and miss was better on every pitch last year than it was in 2020.
He's getting more mature. He feels he has better velocity this year, but the one thing that you have to avoid, and Lucas knows this as well as anybody and better than most, leadoff walks, to especially a lineup that is as invigorated as this Tiger lineup. They think they're going to score a lot of runs this year.
Well, and they have reason to believe that because they have just traded for Austin Meadows late of Tampa Bay, and Meadows slots into that 2 spot in the order today. 27 homers last year, 33 of them in 2019, the last 2 full Major League Baseball seasons. I always liked him in Tampa Bay, Steve.
Well, I think a lot of people felt he was going to hit in the middle of this order, but A.J. Hinch has him in the 2 spot with Candelario in the 4 spot.
In the air, left-hand side. That's Eloy Jimenez for out number 1.
We'll take a look at the defense, and now Tony La Russa puts them out there this lovely afternoon. It's Eloy, Luis, and A.J. left to right in the outfield. With Jake Berger at third base, Leary, Josh, and Jose in the infield. Yasmani Grandal's got the plate. We told you about Lucas Giolito. And one of the missions for the Sox this year, play a little tighter defense. Hit cutoff men. Make sure that those throws are accurate. Don't let them take the extra base, and hopefully that'll be the case. Tim Anderson, if you missed it, is missing 2 games, a suspension from last year, and that is not great for the Sox lineup.
Last year in this very ballpark, in fact, after a late season fracas, you could say.
It was a fracas, because it happened in the late season. Hence the name.
Thank you. Yeah. We try to be self-explanatory, if nothing else, on this telecast. Javi Baez could flag down 747s with his shoes. Those spikes are rather fluorescent and exuberant, and so is his swing quite often.
Well, the good thing about his swing is that he leaves nothing to the imagination. Either do those shoes, by the way, but Javi is going to let it rip on each and every swing. He does not have a 2-strike approach. He has the same approach. Swing real hard in case you hit something. You can tie him up inside, especially inside, up and off the plate, and he has historically expanded his zone on breaking balls away.
He goes up to try to get that thing, and it's 1-2. The biggest surprise of this at bat might be that he didn't swing at the first pitch in a new uniform. He is a big-time first pitch strike guy, as you see that 3rd highest strikeout rate in the majors.
Only 34%, though, so it wasn't like it was a lot.
Yeah, if that was the tax rate on every dinner bill you would say that is the worst.
I would say that would be a lot.
Yeah, it's all about context. Grossman at first, and a throw over there by Giolito, who in spring training did like that PitchCom system a lot. So you see Lucas at points this year nodding behind the pitcher's mound. And from what we saw with guys like Shane Bieber, even in opening day yesterday, the regulation opening day, it could speed up the game, the PitchCom system. Struck him out. 2 down.
Well, although Javi Baez is a good, solid player, the Tiger fans will see a whole lot of this. Ahead with a couple of fastballs, wipe him out with the slider low and away. Not a strike, and you don't have to throw a strike. It just gives the appearance that it's going to be a strike before dipping out of the zone. That was a really good slider by Lucas.
I mean, if he's a 4-pitch pitcher, he's done what he's done the last couple of years on 3 pitches, and sometimes 2.
Well, eventually this straight change is going to come to him. It's not quite there yet.
Candelario, the switch hitting third baseman, goes after a first pitch fastball, strike 1.
Here's where you really want to watch Grossman at first base. The reason being, you don't necessarily want to lead off with Cabrera because he kind of clogs the bases these days. So you don't mind risking a Grossman steal and then leave Candelario there.
He holds this time, and Lucas misses up again. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, it's sort of a what do you have to lose if you're Robbie Grossman, right?
Yeah, well, I think that, and the fact that if you make it, you have one of the league's premier doubles hitters up in Candelario.
He was the best last year with 42 of them. He is mad at himself there. He dipped his head as the ball goes flying out to Robert, and Lucas Giolito pitches around a leadoff walk, which means you get to see newcomer Josh Harrison next. Sleep wellness partner of Major League Baseball.
Boy, that is a big story.
It is. Here are all the changes. What stands out to you as folks at home read these?
Well, I like the electronic pitch signaling because obviously I think it will speed up the game a bit. I like that. I love the balanced schedule next year. I think that's great because every other year you will see every team in your ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to see the stars of the Dodgers? One year the Sox will play the Dodgers in Los Angeles. The next year the Dodgers will come to Chicago. So you're going to see every team every year, which is really a good thing, I believe.
Yeah, you can plan trips. You can plan seasonally who you want to see. You know which one stands out to me in all the changes.
Oh, yeah, the universal DH.
No.
You're a big fan of that.
Stop.
Let's see. What else?
See how long he strings it out.
In fact, you can order food now right into your booth?
No,
from
that's
concession stands.
That's not. That was
not
not
one
on
of
the
the
graph.
changes?
Has your literacy dropped over the course of the last few months?
I had a hard time. I mean, it was up there so quickly.
Yeah, okay. It was up twice. Josh Harrison, former Tigers opening day second baseman 3 years ago. The one that stands out to me is that the instant replay announcements will happen in the ballpark from the umpires. The crew chiefs will announce what they're looking at and what the decision was and why.
I think that's absolutely the right thing to do, because the people sitting in the stands, and we encourage you to come to the ball games in person, although we would like to entertain you if you can't be here in person, but the fans will know what's going on the field, which sometimes gets very complicated.
It does, like the one in Milwaukee that we had last year, with about 3 or 4 moving parts, as Harrison vaults to right, and Robbie Grossman for the first out. Their second inning, as always, brought to you by Menards.
I love to see Andrew Vaughn healthy and in the lineup. I figure he's got to get anywhere from 450 to 500 at bats. If he does that, I think he's going to dwarf those numbers. That was a getting to know you year, not only getting to know you on the offensive standpoint, but the fact that he had to learn a couple of new positions. So this year, his mind won't be near as encumbered.
Here's the deal about Andrew Vaughn, though. Against left-handers, he had a marvelous year. I mean, a .938 OPS against left-handed pitching last year, and that's why he's in today, in part.
Well, that and the fact that he should be able to handle just about everything that Rodriguez has to throw. All you got to do is wait back on the change and then adjust to the cutter, because more times than not, that cutter is coming into the right-hand hitter, and if you don't get it inside by 3 or 4 inches, you get hit hard.
1-2 for Andrew Vaughn, and as we anticipated, you see the slugging percentage against lefties with a tennis-like grunt in there as well. .555.
Well, he showed all the Sox fans everything they need to know on that at bat against Aroldis Chapman in Yankee Stadium. He took a 102-mile-an-hour fastball, turned it around, hit it to right center field out of the ballpark to tie up the ball game. Very few people can say they did that in a pinch hitting role against Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, 18 of the 32 hits for extra bases against left-handers. But you're right, that's one of those pitches that a lot of guys who are very reputable major league hitters don't have a chance at. Left-hand side, Javier Baez from the grass on a hop, and Andrew Vaughn takes a tumble behind the bag, and he is out, number 2. That is a whale of a play by Javi Baez.
Good play on both ends. Baez to his right, the one-hop throw. Torkelson tested for the first time, and he was equal to the task. This is a terrific play, and the Tigers are going to expect that from Javi. He can't get it there all the way in the air, and anytime you see Vaughn go down like that after the hip pointer he had in spring training, you kind of hold your breath. He gets tangled up as Torkelson leans out into foul territory, something that he probably wants to avoid.
Yeah, that was dangerous. He ended up tagging Andrew Vaughn accidentally, I think. And so Pac-12 carnage down the first base line. Cal Arizona State broke out.
Torkelson's a big man, but I don't think he wants to continue to take shots coming at him from his blind side.
That's what you get a left tackle for in free agency. Yeah, watch it again. He sort of tagged him, didn't he?
Well, what happened was he moved his left shoulder into line of fire as far as Andrew was concerned, because that throw took him in that direction. So not an easy play on either end, but well done, and that illustrates what the Tigers are hoping for this year, because last year they were giving a lot of those away.
Jake Berger in the air, right-hand side, and not dissimilar to the ball he hit for his first major league knock, that searing meteor of a double that he hit into the lights here in this ballpark. We were laughing about it this morning in the clubhouse. You know, at some point over the next 5-6 years, his first major league hit is just going to become a laser. But it was a light ball.
It probably is already.
That's, yeah, the fish story. That's in on a sinker. So 3-2. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full counts.
Rodriguez does not have the location on that inside fastball. He's tried to get it in there a number of times, and you have to get the ball inside to the right-handers to set up his changeup away. But he's missing inside and falling behind in a lot of counts.
Jake pumps it to right field down the line, and this is a fair ball, and this is a double for Jake Burger. He's getting used to the old double burger here in Detroit, and it's with 2 outs in the second inning.
You have to love the fact that it keeps the inning alive, and this one sliced away from Grossman. That looked like a cutter. He tried to get inside, an inside-out swing by Jake, and a 2-base hit to take the lineup back to the top.
And that Sox double is brought to you by Elgin Hyundai, home of the double warranty. 20 years, 200,000 miles on every new Hyundai. See ElginHyundai.com for details.
So if he gets another double, is it 400,000 miles?
You're gonna give out warranties and like quadruple the hot dogs all year long, and I'm here for it. A.J. Pollock, his first chance with a runner on for the White Sox, and he checked his swing. It's a ball and no strikes.
They appealed to Adrian Johnson, and he said no.
Adrian's pretty bundled up, and what's funny is you saw Adrian wave off the swing, and you're zipping up your coat.
Well, I am, because he looks cold to me. It is a little chilly down on the field. However, this is actually pretty decent weather for opening day. I expected sleet.
Yeah, this is not bad, especially when your window's closed.
Well, it is, but unfortunately yours is wide open, getting the feel for the game, which I certainly respect. When you come down with pneumonia for a month.
Well, I got COVID last August, so
that's
you know, I'm prone.
That can happen.
1 ball and 1 strike for A.J. Pollock. That's a heater for a strike right down central, 1-2. He is a Notre Dame guy. A.J. Pollock played in the Big East back in the day at Notre Dame. This feels like Notre Dame football weather, if we're going to be honest.
A lot like it.
Burger at second, 2 out. A.J. Pollock, a slice to right, and that's down for a hit. The wave around from Super Joe, and the first RBI in a Sox uniform for A.J. Pollock, and the Sox have scored each time at bat through 2 innings in 2022.
Well, you know what I always say.
What's that?
You can't score in every inning this season unless you score in the first 2. And that's exactly what's happened here. A.J. Pollock with his first run batted in a very familiar uniform to us. Sox on top by a pair. Jake Burger did a nice job of keeping the inning alive. A.J. Pollock drives home the second run.
Luis Robert fouls a ball off, 1 strike. I think you and I had the same thought when A.J. Pollock got traded to the White Sox. This is a legit hitter, and he gets underrated because he was in a loaded team with the Dodgers.
Well, you get overlooked. I mean, you look at some of the other guys on that Dodger team, and then you see Pollock, who hits close to 300, can steal a base for you and play excellent defense.
This ball's ripped to left, and that is fair, tracing the paint into the corner. Here comes A.J. Pollock. Luis Robert has an RBI double, and the Sox are cooking on day 1.
This is a cutter inside, and Luis Robert, who is not over swinging these days, just kind of muscles it down the line. Both of these rallies, the first inning was an abbreviated rally. This is a bona fide rally. They've come with 2 outs and nobody on, which is a good sign for this offense. We realize that this offense is going to be awfully good this year. This offense has torched left-handers over the course of the last year plus, and today no exception.
Well, two things about that. Number one, with the injury to Lance Lynn, Garrett Crochet, the Sox have had some injury trouble with arms. The offense can easily carry this team early in the season. Number two, you got guys like Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, and Yasmani Grandal, who didn't play anything close to a full season last year. And the Sox still had one of the best offenses in the American League.
Well, they're all healthy and ready to go now, and you can tell how destructive they're going to be.
Jose Abreu, after 3 straight hits with 2 outs in the second. I think you also have to really appreciate how many counts the Sox have worked.
Well, they're making Rodriguez really work, and the bullpen is up and going at this early stage. So the thing you would like to do is get Rodriguez out, get the bullpen in, because you got 2 more games in this series. You want to go as deep in the bullpen as you can today.
Jose's trying to hit that building beyond the center field greenery there. It is Drew Hutchison getting loose in the Tiger pen.
They view him as a little insurance against a possible need in the starting rotation. But when Pineda comes back, they feel he moves into the rotation, and maybe Hutchinson goes down to AAA to start.
Akil Baddoo is over, and that is it for the Sox here in the second inning. Pollock and Robert with runs driven in, and the Sox have taken a 3-0 lead. This is the lowest average changeup spin rate in Major League Baseball last year, and Lucas Giolito had the same spin rate as Steve Stone's birth year, 1492.
I did not sail the ocean blue
Yeah.
in 1492.
I thought I had broken you completely when I said that. Okay, so let's compare the spin rate, and for those uninitiated, you see the difference between Giolito and Rodriguez. Changeup, you don't see the high RPM number. What's the difference in spin rate and changeup, Steve?
I think generally the greater the spin rate, the more the movement. But MLB average, as you can see, is up there. Lucas's is not even MLB average, but it doesn't really matter on that pitch because it usually is a surprise pitch anyway. By surprise pitch, if a hitter can't see the release point, if the release point's the same as a fastball and the arm velocity is the same as a fastball, it doesn't really matter what the spin rate is.
Yeah, how does that translate to a hitter's eye? When you see that as a pitcher, what are you thinking based on the hitter's reaction?
Well, I don't care at all about spin rate on the changeup. Spin rate's very important on the slider and the curveball and on the fastball. I mean, that's, I believe, really important. because you get a little more movement with that. But spin rate on the slider, not a big deal. But to the hitter's eye, just don't vary. And I say vary with Lucas Giolito, who's high 3/4. If he stays high 3/4 on the straight change, you're not going to be able to tell coming out of his hand what it is, because pitchers today are tunneling all of their pitches. They want everything to come out of the same spot. They want everything to be used with the same arm velocity, and then you kill velocity in your hand by choking off the baseball.
Another high ball out of the zone. That was a slider from Lucas to Miguel Cabrera, who is 13 hits shy of 3,000.
Cabrera these days is not handling the fastball at all. You throw the fastball inside, and more times than not, you're going to get him. There was a time in his career, maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, where you couldn't get a fastball by him. That's not the case these days.
Two and two. That's a heater, and it's up 3-2.
He's tried 3 times to throw a high fastball by him, and 3 times he's missed way out of the zone. Right now, as you could tell by the first inning, Lucas does not have very good rhythm. He's still searching for it. Hopefully it'll come to him sooner rather than later, but you want to make sure the pitches don't pile up, because Tony La Russa does not want to go into his bullpen early in this game.
Struck him out with the changeup, and there is the confusion Lucas creates with the fastball changeup combo.
There's not a lot of right-hand pitchers that will consistently throw straight changes to a right-hand hitter. Lucas is one of those guys that will. That looked like a fastball to the eyes of Cabrera. It looked like it was going to probably be middle in. Instead, it was a changeup. It dipped inside, and you completely fooled a guy that's going to the Hall of Fame, most likely on the first ballot.
Yeah, a guy who's seen about 100,000 pitches in his career. So one down for Jonathan Schoop, who does have some power in that bat. You may remember his All-Star year half a decade ago with Baltimore when he had 32 home runs.
The Tigers figure back to his natural position, which is second base. He's going to have a better year this year than he had last, and last year he had a very good year.
Crowd has started to cheer a little bit. The Sun has decided to buy a ticket to today's game in downtown Detroit.
It certainly is very nice, something we didn't think we would see today. The advanced weather report was it was going to rain all day today, and then tomorrow and Sunday be fairly nice. Instead, it turned out to be fairly nice today.
Now Lucas goes upstairs, and Schoop liked it enough to take a swing and miss at it. Yeah, this is for opening day. You take this and run with it.
I think it's wonderful weather, actually. Lucas is in short sleeves.
He's a hardy California lad who has given up the first hit for the Tigers, and that gets to the wall. It's a double for Jonathan Schoop. Your 2022 Chicago White Sox, presented by Guaranteed Rate. Whether it's a purchase, refinance, or cash out refi, your first move is to visit rate.com and to catch all the action on the field. Secure your spot with a ticket package. Full 40, 20, and 10 game plans are available.
Baddoo came over as a Rule 5 player last year and had a wonderful first part of the season. Then the league made an adjustment to him, and things didn't go quite as well the second half. Now it's going to be up to him to make that adjustment back to the league, but he's got very good speed. He is a base stealing threat, and at least early last year he was torching some pitching.
He went through on that curveball. It's a strike to Baddoo. He did a lot of his damage on the fastball. Most of his home runs were against the fastball, and that might be why Lucas just started them off away from it.
This is a left-hand hitter's paradise if you can pull the ball. Very short porch to right and right center field.
A little bit down, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Lucas wanted that one. Looked like a pretty good pitch. Didn't get the call from Marvin Hudson.
It's a 330 encased in pizza. Down the right field line. There are nooks and crannies in this ballpark. If you look around, some places have nooks, some have crannies.
There's kind of a nice one to right center field. If the ball hits that, it's going to shoot straight out to straightaway center field.
Well, the chase was on for Luis coming from center, even on that ball that hit the angular wall and left from Scope on a couple of hops. Here's the nook you're talking about. Not to be confused with Nook Logan, former Tiger.
Just to the right of that, it's pretty short and a low wall. Around the scoreboard gets to be much more difficult to hit out.
It's there on the corner, 2-2. So let's compare. This is by StatCast 3D. We'll compare guaranteed rate field to Comerica Park.
Are we comparing and contrasting?
We could. If you want to contrast the crannies and compare the nooks, there's your opportunity. Center field way deeper.
Is our ballpark much more symmetrical.
And now back to real life. 2-2, check to swing.
Yes, he did.
Yep, he went around. Third strikeout for Lucas Giolito, one of the best swing and miss guys in baseball last year.
We'll take a look at what it looks like from the side. This is what Ryan Blakeney sees, and he said, yes, that is enough. Nice stop by Yaz. Puts the tag on, and there are 2 outs.
Despite the best efforts of Ramon Santiago to get into our shot, we knew that he swung and missed.
And here is the promising youngster.
Spencer Torkelson, who broke Barry Bonds' freshman home run record in Tempe in his first Tigers at bat. Oh, and he's not going to get cheated either. Yeah, Indeed. It's our Indeed player resume. It's Spencer Torkelson. 2018 was that freshman record. 440 slugging in 12 spring games. One of the top prospects in Major League Baseball.
He also has pretty good power to right and right center field, so he views himself as an all-field hitter.
He was an easy first overall choice a couple of years ago. He was the most complete hitter in that draft, according to most.
Well, eventually he's going to hit in the middle of this lineup. But right now, trying to ease him in, A.J. Hinch is hitting him down. He does not profile as an 8th hitter, especially with the power he has.
He spikes his bat down. He was hoping for a heroic first AB, but he's going to have to settle for a major league hit at some point later on today in the series or after. 3-zip Sox.
As ever, probably more, because I understand every year you understand more the responsibility that you have to fans and the organization, game of baseball, your team, and you take it serious or you shouldn't have the job.
Managed for Success, presented by University of Chicago Medical Center. Look, you spent some time on the plane with Tony La Russa. You sat across from him, and you've gotten to know him very well over the years. Those are not hollow words. He has a reverence for the game of baseball.
Well, he also prepares as well as any manager that I've ever seen, because a lot goes into the configuration of a lineup. Now, this lineup is a lot different because Tim Anderson is not there for a couple of days. You don't have Moncada and worry about where you're going to put him. So it's a different lineup.
Grandal first base side. Torkelson has to run all over the place to try to circle under that thing. And it's 0-2.
Yeah, this is Spencer's first time in this ballpark, and so he really didn't have much of an idea about where that ball was. He was sprinting toward the stands. That one landed on the grass. But, you know, you don't think about these things, but not being familiar with this park, he doesn't have a great idea. As you can see, he's running to his right, the ball's going to his left, and no chance at all for Grossman. So another life for Yaz.
Well, guys use frames of reference from previous pop-ups to know where they are, right?
Yeah, and that's why if you watch Jose Abreu on pop-ups, he's as good as literally anybody in baseball. For whatever reason, he gets a great feel to which way the ball is going to go. And for corner defenders, they realize the ball is going to spiral back toward the field of play, away from the stands toward the field of play. So you have a tendency not to overrun pop-ups like that.
By the way, do you sense, I think both of these pitchers are using PitchCom today. Do you sense a different pace? I feel like both are working pretty quickly today.
I think both are getting it and throwing it. But yet Barnhart is still giving signals.
In the air, right field side, and this is in the glove of Robbie Grossman for out number 1. Then maybe Rodriguez isn't, but I felt like, I mean, he is really cooking here, and the guys we saw in spring training who used PitchCom were more of this pace than the guys who weren't.
Well, I think he works pretty quickly anyway, and a lot of people feel that this ballpark is really going to help his ERA because it's so much bigger than Fenway Park, which was his home ballpark. You can't make too many mistakes inside at Fenway, or that Green Monster is going to get you. And this is a fairly deep left center field here.
Ball 1 to Eloy Jimenez, who drove in a run in the first inning with a 2-out RBI single.
You know what's coming up, don't you?
What is that, Steve?
Well, I can't really let the cat out of the bag.
Uh-oh.
Safe to say I'm getting my fisherman's friend out.
Your fisherman's friend?
Yes, you've never heard of that?
It's a cough drop, I believe.
It's a industrial strength cough drop. Follow our Sox Insiders at NBCSportsChicago.com, presented by nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. At dinner with Vuk, by the way. Get to enjoy knowing the Vuk as much as you do the jingle at JeffVuk.com.
Pitch first, and then poor pitch next.
Because Nationwide is on your side. Oh, I'm telling you, just as if we practiced all winter long.
We did. I was waiting for you on the Zoom call, but you don't Zoom.
No, I don't.
We were going to practice on Zoom.
We were going to.
2-2. Eloy in the air to right, driving Grossman back. He is still going, and at the warning track, Robbie Grossman hauls in the second out of the inning. I believe that was our first jingle interrupted by a pitch.
Yes. There was premature exhilaration, actually.
We're here for you, baseball fans. That's all I can say. 2 down for Leury Garcia. Well, it was fun to have the sun here while it lasted.
I know, it's kind of gone up, and now the mist has started.
Not the Maid of the Mist.
No, I was on that, by the way, once.
You were?
Yeah.
up in Niagara Falls.
As a very little person.
And there's the wow. How about them umbrellas?
Well prepared. I think the folks thought that it would end up that way today, and they weren't wrong.
That's the best Dallas-based umbrella since Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm at the Hibachi restaurant.
Well,
they don't have to return this one to the hotel, though.
You hope they don't.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Garcia with 2 out here in the 3rd.
Well,
go ahead.
This
please.
inning, Rodriguez looks like he's getting more of a feel for just about everything. Sox took advantage of the first couple innings when he could not hit with his straight change and was missing with his cutter.
Javi Baez with a hop, skip, and a throw for out number 3 in a 1-2-3 inning for the first time in 2022 for either pitcher.
$30 guys in the world that get to do this, start opening day, kick off the season. I will always appreciate the opportunity. I think that it's important to go out there and set the tone as best I possibly can.
Well, Lucas so far, along with the offense, has set the tone to a 3-0 lead. But I just want to know from your perspective, as a former player and a guy who's seen a lot of them as a major league announcer, what does opening day mean to you, Steve?
Well, I was very fortunate. I was able to start 2 times on opening day. One time for the White Sox, the other time for Baltimore. It was really a thrill because, number one, you're coming from spring training and nothing has happened so far during the course of the year, and you have a chance to set the trend for things. And so that part of it was really good. And plus, spring training normally gets old. No, I mean, it really does. Normally on a 6-week spring training, I used to go down there a couple weeks ahead of time. So I was down there for 2 months. And by the time you got about 10 days from the end of spring training, you couldn't wait to when it was over. This year was an accelerated spring training. It was only 3.5 weeks. So I think that guys this year realized spring training went by awfully quickly. I don't think they felt the same way. But for Lucas and anybody who gets a chance to be a starting pitcher on opening day, number one, it's an honor. Number two, it's a thrill. And number three, if you can set the trend for your team, you go out there and do whatever you can. In the case of Lucas, at this point, he's leading by 3. And hopefully that changeup will come to him, because that's a huge part of his arsenal. The best one he threw was to Cabrera, and he struck him out at 3-2.
slider in the dirt. 2-2 for Tucker Barnhart, who they got in a deal in November of last year. That was 1978. You were the opening day starter for the Sox, right?
Yes. Yes. I think that was against the Red Sox, I believe. We won that game, I think, in 10 innings.
It was a walk-off.
Yeah, I think it was Ron Bloomberg hitting a home run.
Strike three. There's your changeup. Fourth strikeout for Lucas Giolito.
This is more like the Lucas we've come to know and love. Throwing that straight change to a pinpoint spot. Barnhart looking for anything but. He freezes him over the inside part of the plate, and he takes him down. That's one thing Lucas can do. Move that changeup in and out, move it up and down. Very few guys will throw a high changeup by design. Lucas, he calls it his parachute change. He's able to do that.
It is not great parachuting weather today.
No, it's not.
So, you're always right, for the most part, by the mind and the mind's eye when you recall things you did when you were playing. Ron hit a home run in the 9th to tie the game.
Oh, and then we won it in the 10th.
Won it actually bottom 9. Wayne Nordhagen.
Ooh, the 5 o'clock Babe Ruth.
RBI double, scored Chet Lemon.
And there we go.
And there was your opening day victory.
Yep. That one and the other time was against Kansas City in Baltimore. It was opening day 1981. And it was just thrilling. Both of them were just thrilling.
I'm looking at that box score from 1978, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention that the other game. Oh, wow, Lucas is just mowing him down right now. Back-to-back strikeouts.
Well, you can take a look when you're very much aware of the changeup. This happens. Look at how late Grossman is on that fastball, and that's a product of Lucas starting to get the changeup over the plate. When you do that, hitters they start guessing with you. With Lucas now throwing 4 pitches, your guess rate is 25% at best. But also, if he changes speeds on those 4, maybe you get 6 pitches out of it. The end result is a swing like that when the ball's in Yaz's glove.
Yeah, it looks like a meat cleaver, not a baseball bat. So 2 down for Austin Meadows. I was going to say we'd be remiss looking at that box score. The great Jerry Remy was in that game in 1978, and that's going to be the first Red Sox season without Jerry Remy, who passed away last year, and just a major loss for the game and for the community of Boston, and how much he meant to the baseball people up there.
Boy, they absolutely revered Jerry Remy. He was there so long and battled through so many things. He had a lot of health issues for quite some time before finally succumbing this year, but a terrific guy, was a really good player on some very good Boston teams. And when you looked at that entire lineup and you saw Jim Rice and Fred Lynn and Yastrzemski and Fisk and Hobson and Burleson and Remy in that same lineup, you realize just how good offensively those guys were in that era. They didn't win a lot for the simple reason that they didn't have the greatest pitching around, but the lineup was really difficult to face, and Jerry Remy was a big part of that.
I'm looking at that box score again, and the names that you just said were in this order. It was Jerry Remy you faced first that day, opening day 1978. Rick Burleson, Jim Rice, Karl Yastrzemski were the 4 guys you faced in the first inning, and Jerry Remy actually put the first run on the board that day with an RBI triple that you're still not over.
Are you kidding?
You've repressed it.
Yeah, I mean, I could call him a weasel, but he's departed, so we won't do that.
I'm sure you did it enough in your time together. In ball 4, second walk for Lucas Giolito. Somehow that was kind. Bring your family of 4 to a White Sox game starting at $70 with a family 4-pack presented by ExxonMobil. You'll get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks, and 4 bags of chips to select games. Plus, with every purchase, you have a chance to win mobile gasoline for a year. Scan that QR code in the bottom right to purchase.
Does that mean that you get gasoline that follows you around?
Mobile gasoline. Yes, it's a little jug of petroleum that has wheels.
You can never run out. I like that.
Wow, that promo has so many pitfalls. It's like the bear trap of promos. So I will just say, as we wrap up on Jerry Remy. He had this infectious laugh when he turned on Red Sox games, and they have great people doing those games, and it's nothing against anybody who's doing them this year, but I will miss Jerry Remy and the joy he brought to baseball. Javier Baez on 1 strike with Meadows at first. And a half swing foul.
Okay, so a quick story. I'm walking home from Fenway Park because, you know, the hotel was very close to the ballpark. And so I'm walking and it's crowded and there's lots of people around and I'm just out of breath and everything else, big case and all that. And I look up in the middle of the street. There's Jerry Remy with an SUV, and I knock on his window and I think he thought somebody was going to mug him. And I said, can you give me a lift back to the hotel? And he was kind enough to do that, only charged me about 40 bucks. I thought it was great. He was a wonderful man.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Uber for Steve. 0-2 is a low changeup. 1 and 2. So you just started pounding on his window?
I remember his face. I still remember his face. He's wondering what in the world is happening here. So I thought somebody was accosting him, but that wasn't the case.
That is awesome. Yeah, those streets are pretty crowded now after games.
Really?
Meadows at first, 2 down. 1 and 2 for Baez. Lucas feeds him a fastball. Would you think slider now, Steve? Or would you go high heat?
I would like to see a slider, and if you miss with it, I wouldn't mind seeing another one. The reason is you've got a guy in the first year of a long-term deal. Doesn't matter what he did before he was here. He wants to ingratiate himself to Tigers fans. He's probably going to swing at just about everything if it's close. So knowing that you don't have to throw him a strike, it's a good time for a slider low and away out of the zone.
In the dirt.
That was a really nice job by Yaz of blocking that. And you'll notice when he went down, he didn't try to catch it. Watch his body. He doesn't try to catch this. He just angles the body down. Now he winds up taking that off the bicep, which is something that you don't want to do, but most catchers are fairly impervious to pain. And if you're going to be back there, you're going to get hit a lot. He did a nice job making sure there was no advancement out of Meadows at first base.
Set up outside from Yaz, and the 2-2 is swung through. He did finally ace him on the slider, and Lucas Giolito takes 3 down. Punching 3 tickets in the third. You like strikeouts, Steve?
I like them a lot.
Here they are.
You know, you can't defend against a strikeout.
Except with that bat.
I love the late swing, though.
Season. And the fourth inning brought to you by the Village of Bedford Park. Where are the Terry Francona Birmingham Barons jerseys?
He was very popular down there.
He was. First pitch swing of inning number 4. Josh Harrison against his former team. 1 down. Here's your Sox Math champion from last year.
Baseball's back.
Don't say baseball?
Sacco, is that you?
I'm back.
I'm a full-grown man now.
I even have a family at home.
Are you excited for the upcoming Sox season?
Excited? I'm through the moon.
Baseball.
Baseball.
2022.
Baseball.
Baseball. White Sox baseball.
Baseball.
I have no idea what that was, but Luke the Hydrator, our Sox Math champion, who, if you remember, he had the sock puppet and then he jumped into the lake.
I really miss Sacco.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
He was our Sox Math champion from last year. He won the video poll, as this is going to roll foul. It is a ball and 2 strikes on Andrew Vaughn. Here's your first Sox Math question. Hashtag Sox Math. First correct answer gets you the chance to do the video tomorrow and top that. Number of letters in the last name of the pitcher who started the most White Sox opening days, multiplied by the number of opening day Sox starts he made, minus his Sox jersey number that he's most known for, plus the number of letters in the last name of the Sox starting infielder today from the same home state.
8.
You're not right, but you're kind of close. And that's alarming to me.
There you go. I figured it out. I just must have miscalculated on a number or 2. 6.
I like when the crew guesses. It's Sox Math. 1 and 2 on Vaughn. And that's wanded foul, first base side, past the venerable Darrell Boston. It's just nice to be at a ballpark and take in the game that you and I both love and enjoy the day again. Torkelson at first. And he can't catch it over the shoulder. He's still getting used to that.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it the first time, and you talk about it again because it comes back graphically to you when you make a mistake like this and you give Andrew Vaughn another opportunity. Spencer was yelling, "I've got it," which was a good thing because Scope was nowhere near. However, he doesn't have it. So let's see if Andrew can take advantage of some Tiger largesse.
Saw them at Ravinia.
They're very good.
Tiger largesse.
Yes.
Vaughn gives it a ride to center. Akil Baddoo. Round number 2. And now a message from Powering Chicago.
Who powers Chicago? We do. Powering Chicago's members consistently help create better construction, better careers, and better communities. Powering Chicago. IBEW Local 134, NECA, Chicago.
He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti, and you are you, wherever you might be. With the Sox up 3-0 after runs in the first and second, and Jake Berger is the guy who started the rally in the second.
A lot of pitches so far. That was pitch number 82 from Rodriguez. So he doesn't figure to go too much longer. I think maybe A.J. Hinch would like to see him get 5, but it depends on what happens next inning, the beginning of it.
Baddoo slides early, and Akil Baddoo reaches out to put it away. That nearly was going to be another Jake Berger helium ball double here in Detroit, but Baddoo, it looked like he mistimed the slide.
Well, lack of communication because Baddoo isn't really a center fielder, and he and Scope are just trying to learn the idiosyncrasies of one another.
Joins us via WebEx by Cisco.
The White Sox are without their star third baseman today. Yoan Moncada started the season on the 10-day IL with an oblique strain. Now, Rick Hahn says he might be returning in 3 weeks or a little bit sooner. You can find more details on that on NBCSportsChicago.com and the My Teams app.
That is true. Yoan Moncada out on the injured list. And, you know, it's interesting. Tony La Russa mentioned this yesterday that Yoan says he feels fine and then he'll sneeze and he doubles over in pain. So it's an oblique strain, a grade 1 oblique strain, and the pain comes with sort of a shot to the side with a sneeze or a laugh.
How about an antihistamine and put him at third?
Thanks, Dr. Steve. You're just as good as WebMD. Oh, on to Candelario. Well, you know this broadcast is very pro-histamine.
Yeah.
So,
well, we always were.
Yeah, we can't help ourselves. Lucas Giolito has 6 strikeouts through 3 innings so far this afternoon. A little bit low, 2-0 from Marvin Hudson, the plate umpire, a former catcher in college. Call me the balls and strikes today. Third straight opening day start for Lucas Giolito has gone well to this point. It's 2-1 on Candelario.
They play Candelario as a dead pull hitter with Harrison well back on the grass on the right side.
Lucas has missed up a bunch today. Yep. What does that tell you?
He just is a little too keyed up right now. I thought last inning things were starting to come to him, but he's walked a couple. That's something that you don't really like to see in 3 innings. However, he's fanned 6, which is a whopping total. The one thing that does do, though, is get the pitch count up.
Called a strike. That was shocking to Candelario.
It's a pitch that Lucas was not getting early in the ball game, but Marvin Hudson certainly liked the location of this. Yes, didn't want it there, but he moved across, made the catch, framed it well, and got the strike.
Here we go, 3-2. High in the air, right center field. Robert coasting into the alleyway, and Luis does have a play for out number 1.
Over-unders, prop bets, parlays. Don't miss tonight's Bulls Betcast. While the Bulls battle the Hornets, you can see live lines and get in-game betting insight from the pros. Coverage starts at 7 on NBC Sports Chicago Plus.
The playoffs are nigh for the Chicago Bulls.
Thought they were 6.
They're coming soon.
Oh.
They're on the horizon, if you will.
So they're not 9th?
They're not, no, they're nigh.
Oh, I see.
Like Bill Nye, the science guy.
Now I get it.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that would relate to you. 1 down for Miguel Cabrera, who checks his swing, and that's strike 1. He is second active in hits, active players. Albert Pujols is number 1, and what symmetry for Albert, somebody who Tony La Russa adores. Albert back in St. Louis to finish his career.
How about 13 away from 3,000 for Miggy?
They got the home runs and the hits up there. This is Jake Berger to take away 29-88. Sorry, Miggy. 2 down, and here is your Sox Math winner. Do you know the guy who won Sox Math today? Do you know Daku Bersky?
No.
Okay.
I know.
7 letters in Mark Burley.
Yes.
9 opening day starts for Mark Burley.
Well, that I got.
He wore 56.
That I knew.
Jake Berger, conveniently enough, who just made the last play. How often do you see it? Also from Missouri.
And the answer?
13.
I was only 5 away.
I know, it was scary, actually.
Not bad.
2 down for Scope and a strike. I thought it was interesting what Lucas said to Chuck in our pregame chat that you saw. That he said he wants to be consistent, more consistent. He's had great starts, but he wants his every day to be better. Scope to Robert, and Luis just coasts out there. That's a 1-2-3 inning for Lucas Giolito to maintain a 3-0 Sox lead. America Park, and the runs were streaming out of Sox bats early with 2 outs. Steve, starting with Eloy.
Both times, 2 outs, nobody on, 3 runs scored, which is a great sign. A.J. Pollock with his first run batted in. And Luis Robert shows you just how quick his hands are, pulling them in, driving it down the line. This is going to be a very potent lineup, especially when you consider it's not assembled to 100% yet. Lucas Giolito getting stronger as he moves along. And so far, nothing for the Detroit offense through 4.
And that is going to be all for Eduardo Rodriguez. So Drew Hutchison out of the bullpen.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of pitches. You're talking about 80, 84, 85 pitches, whatever, through 4 innings. And so they chase him, they get into the pen. Now every team has at least 1, possibly 2 more pensmen for the first month of the season.
Yeah, until we get to the first couple days of May, there's no limit on the number of pitchers you can have, with the rosters expanding to 28 for the first month.
But some teams have decided to add another couple pitchers. The Sox have 14 and 14. 14 position players, 14 pitchers. They feel that some of their starters will go a little deeper in games, and although that bullpen is deep, it's also very good. One of the things you lose with Garrett Crochet is you lose a multi-inning left-hander, a guy that could go to without a great deal of difficulty.
5th inning brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade. There's a funky motion from Hutchison. I mean, last year in short time with the Tigers, a 2.11 ERA. His career ERA is about 5 for Hutchison in a number of different uniforms: Toronto, Pittsburgh, Philly, Texas. Ball snapped to right field. Robbie Grossman going back at the track, and this ball ends up climbing the wall. A.J. Pollock has his 2nd hit in 3 at-bats in a Sox jersey.
If he drives this ball to straightaway right, it's a home run. As it turns out, it's just a 2-base hit. Boy, he's going to be a welcome addition to this lineup. Right or left-hander doesn't really matter. This is a guy that has always hit wherever he's gone, and today is no exception. So he has spearheaded an offense that so far is looking awfully tough, and you'd love to cash in this run because there's still a long way to go in this one.
Yeah, and alleviate some pressure on the bullpen in the first day of the season, although Liam Hendricks doesn't really care a whole lot about how much pressure is on him. First pitch dives away on a slider to Luis Robert, who poked the ball for a double down the left field line in the second.
Yeah, I don't care how long you've been in this game or how many teams you've played with. When you come to a new team, you want to do it really early in your existence with that new team to show the fans that you got a quality player.
Off Hutchison and an infield single. Nice read by A.J. Pollock there, by the way, who doubled back to second base, noticing that he might get caught in a pickle.
Well, you have to go back because you know it's not going to get by the pitcher. So with nobody able to get to it, Hutchison is very unhappy with it, but he's lucky to have flagged it down. Otherwise, with the exit velocity, that's probably going through to center field. Normally, Baez playing Robert as a pull hitter, he wouldn't have been able to get to that. So he saves a run for the moment, but puts 2 on with nobody out. For the Tigers, the back end of their pen is pretty good. It's going to be the middle part that might prove problematic if the starters leave relatively early, like Rodriguez did today.
And like is probably going to happen the first month of the season, to be honest, with the pitchers still ramping up out of spring training. How long do you think it takes for pitchers to build to going 6, possibly 7 innings?
Well, here's an interesting thing about what's going to happen to all the pitchers in baseball. Normally in a 6-week spring training, which is the time that a normal spring training is, you get to go through that tired arm or dead arm period. You get to go through it in spring training. Then you battle your way back and you start the season strong. This year, with a 3.5-week spring training, that dead arm period is going to come to a lot of starting pitchers in the regular season. It's going to be the first couple of starts. They might start the season with all the adrenaline, with the arm feeling pretty good, but somewhere in the first 3 starts, they're going to start to enter that dead arm period. The problem is you're not going to be able to relax like you would in spring training. So we're just seeing, in my estimation, the tip of the iceberg as far as injuries are concerned. And I think it's going to be a product of an accelerated spring training. If it was ideal to have a 3.5-week spring training, then every year, every non-strike or non-lockout year, you would have a 3.5-week spring training. But they don't. They have a 6-week spring training, and they don't have it for the hitters. They have it for the pitchers. And hopefully we'll hold our breath and hope that all of our mainstays stay entirely healthy.
2-2 on Jose off the slider from Hutchison. Yeah, we already saw Lance Lynn, who had the knee issues previously, but it could take him a month, 2 months, possibly the month to recover and then the month to ramp up. We'll see when he ends up back in the rotation.
And you take a look around baseball and you see a whole lot of their pitchers coming up with sore elbows, sore shoulders, fatigue of one sort or another. We'll just see how it plays out.
Two. That's down. It's 3 balls, 2 strikes on a slider. He went fishing for a swing and didn't get it.
That was a nice job of laying off by Jose, because that one just dipped out of the zone at the last instant. Looked like Barnhart was framing it well, trying to induce Marvin Hudson into calling it a strike, but it didn't happen. So yet another full count. We've seen a lot of them today.
Runners go. Jose to short. Baez isn't going to get the out there, and the Sox putting the runners in motion keeps the team out of a double play.
Well, normally you see a 6-4-3 and you think it's going to be 2, but on the call, John Tumpane at second base, he says nope, they didn't get him. I think you're going to see a whole lot more of that this year. I think this is a team that has some speed up and down this lineup. They're going to have more when Tim Anderson comes, and so putting the motion with the runners meant you got second and third and only 1 out instead of a double play and a runner at 3rd and 2. Big difference in an inning.
And you know, that's Tony knowing his players as well. For all of Jose's greatness, 2020 the MVP, massive offensive seasons, great consistency. This is fouled back toward us and onto the roof. For all that Jose has done, and it's substantial, he has led the league in double plays hit into the last 3 years.
Well, look, it's a combination that lends itself to double plays. He hits the ball very hard. He makes a lot of contact. and he's not overwhelmingly fast as you would expect from a real big man who's a little bit older. Well, normally in a situation like this, what you would see would be putting Tucker Barnhart to the test. You'd see a breaking ball in the dirt. Hutchison might want to go to a high fastball here, but I'm guessing that he tries to get out Grandal out of the strike zone, especially with the infield in at all 4 positions.
Diaz goes down to sweep it foul.
Nice job of staying alive on a pretty good pitch.
With the infield in on 2 strikes. That's up, and Barnhart snaps off a throw to third. Pollock's back.
I think that's one of the things that they wanted to show early. Barnhart's got a very good arm, and all the advanced scouts who are watching this game now will write in their reports he's willing to throw to the bases, so that secondary lead you would normally get shortens up a step. Sometimes it saves you a base.
Grandal skyward, first base side. This has been a trouble spot with his back turned. Scope, and no tag from A.J. Pollock at third. Nice play by Jonathan Scope for the second out.
This is the advantage of putting Scope back to his natural position. There's a much better angle on this pop-up from second than there is at first base. And Scope has played a lot of second base and is very good at it. You don't have to tell him to get rid of the ball quickly. He crosses into foul territory and then gets the ball into the plate. What's really important on this play is that whoever is pitching, in this case Hutchinson, has to back up home plate, because that's where that throw is going to be. It's not going to go to a cutoff man. It's coming right to Barnhart.
2 things. Number 1, you see Eloy's new hair.
Yes.
The bleached blonde sort of look. And number 2, there was a truly abysmal throw in the Angels game last night.
Joe Adell,
yeah.
You know, he surprised me because he was lining up to throw it home. And then.
Yeah, it ended up on the 405 as Hutchinson makes a play on Eloy Jimenez. That was a big at bat. Hutchinson gets out of it, and the Sox still hold a 3-0 lead.
The day of Lucas Giolito, and it was a very good day indeed. The changeup wasn't there early, although this was a really good one to Cabrera. Lucas settled down, started to hit his spots as the game moved along. Because it's the first outing of the year, he's going just 4 innings. And And he made some very good pitches to Javi Baez in his Tiger debut. And Bennett Sousa comes into this one. Out of Charlotte last year in 21 games, he was pretty good. The control was good. The strikeouts were great, 33 and 22 and a third. For the most part, he threw the ball pretty well in spring training, and he is the beneficiary of a couple of different things. Number one, the injury to Garrett Crochet. Number two, the fact that there is 28 players the first 2 months of the season. So Sousa's able to make the major league team, break with the ball club, and now gets into opening day, and got to be a lot of butterflies right there.
Yeah, I mean, he and Tanner Banks, who have both made this roster for the first time, have lockers next to one another, and they were in the clubhouse early and taking it all in. And Bennett Sousa, who played at a very prestigious baseball program, the University of Virginia, gets his first taste of a major league mound, and he'll go lefty-lefty with Akil Baddoo for ball one.
One of the things that will endear him to his skipper, Tony La Russa, and Ethan Katz, is the ability to throw strikes.
Fly ball to right. A.J. Pollock on the move to the line, and A.J. is there to make the catch for out number one. And with that, we check in the studio. A preview of what's coming up on White Sox Postgame Live, presented by Subaru. Frank, Ozzie, and Chuck, so great to hear you guys again. Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Good to have the Three Musketeers back.
Makes for a very entertaining, informative, and awfully funny show.
I just like their furniture.
That's too. I'd like to have it in my living room, actually.
Yeah, they got a nice showroom there.
Nice, I know.
Bennett Sousa. That was close. It's 2-0 to Spencer Torkelson. So you have two guys in their major league debuts. Second batter of the fifth inning, Torkelson, who's 0 for 1. Strike, 2-1.
Throws him a slider on 2-0. That shows me something.
What does it show you?
That he believes he can get just about anything over the plate at any time, because you got to believe the adrenaline is really flowing. What appeared to be an innocuous fly ball to right field off the bat of Baddoo is something that Sousa will never forget.
Close again. 3 balls and a strike for Torkelson.
This is where you don't want to get a power hitting youngster, because now he's ahead in the count. Now literally he has nothing to lose with this swing if it's close.
He is laser focused on a fastball right now.
That's all he's looking for.
Took a pass at it, popped it up. A.J. Pollock against the wind, like Bob Seger for round number 2.
Well, I was just going there.
You
too.
were?
Yeah, you.
Oh,
you just,
no.
You just jumped in there with the Motor City guy. I know he was a DJ here, by the way. Bob Seger was.
And like a rock, we do this promo. Join us at Guaranteed Rate Field April 12th for opening day. Sox take on the Mariners, 3:10 p.m. First 20,000 fans get a 2021 AL Central Champs pennant presented by BMO. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/promos. That's going to be a great day, and the weather looks marvelous at last check, at least. Have you looked at the weather today for opening day?
It looked marvelous.
You didn't answer my question.
No, I haven't.
I thought that was a no. That's right.
But I will tell you that Barnhart is back to switch hitting.
I was just going to tell you that.
No, you slipped that Seager in there on me, so I had to usurp your switch hitting thing.
Well, we're down a Seager in Major League Baseball with the retirement
we are.
of Kyle. A tomahawk shot to short. Leori Garcia, rare ground ball in this game. And that will do it. Bennett Sousa, Major League debut. Nicely done, young man. In the AL Central with our central focus, because you play a lot of games against your division, at least for now. For
this year, yeah.
Bobby Witt Jr., game-winning RBI for the Royals against the Guardians yesterday.
He did beat them in the 8th.
And the Twins have made a deal the other day. Taylor Rogers goes to San Diego. Emilio Pagan comes over, but the cornerstone of that is Chris Paddock.
If Paddock can harken back to a couple of years ago, that's a great addition to the starting rotation, and Pagan is a closer, but they gave up a lot. Taylor Rogers, a quality left-hander.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, they got a couple guys who look closer-ish as Torkelson rips that out of the air for out number 1. Best defensive play of his career.
I would say so. It's a redeemer after the pop-up, but this one was outstanding. Good quick reflexes to his right. We've been told that he's very athletic at first base. That although he's not near the finished product, and you wouldn't be at 22 years old, he's still pretty good down there. And gives him a lot more mobility than Miguel Cabrera or even Jonathan Scope, who played there a lot last year.
Yeah, he's a true first baseman in young legs, and Spencer Torkelson, the sky really is the limit for that guy.
Well, they're absolutely going to love him here because he will hit, because he's hit everywhere he's ever gone. And they're going to particularly love when Riley Green comes back. I mean, he's 6'3", a 200-pound guy who plays center field very well. He's not a real burner, but he's fast enough to play center field here. And that's the guy that's going to anchor this outfield. You know, it's kind of interesting because if Green doesn't go down to the broken foot, they probably don't make the Meadows deal. And when they make the Meadows deal, now suddenly it's going to be a logjam in the outfield when Green comes back, because he's going to get a spot to play.
Yeah, I know they liked what Akil Baddoo did last year.
But he's not a true center fielder.
Right.
I mean, he's probably better suited at the corners. They love the speed that he adds to the ball club. They love the fact that he's an intense player. He was a very good player for them, but everyday center field is probably not where he's going to be.
Middle infield, Baez. Out number 2, we talked about Bobby Witt Jr., Spencer Torkelson. Here's some of the top prospects. Julio Rodriguez, who Mariners fans have been very excited about. And then Hunter Green is a prodigious player as well.
Well, he throws 102, 103 miles an hour. It'll be real interesting to see how he fits into that starting rotation for Cincinnati. Cincinnati gave up a whole lot of their team. Bryson Stott is another one of those guys, #1 prospect in their organization. we'll see how that works out for him. But that's the exciting part about especially the beginning of the year. You get to see the crown jewels of various organizations who happen to make the ball club, and you're seeing them for the first time in the major leagues, and you see what they look like when they get here and what they turn into. And many times you turn into really good players, especially when you're 1 and 2 in the prospect list of your organization.
Well, and we have seen as well over the last decade and a half, the average age of major leaguers has decreased. It's been easier recently for younger and younger players to make it earlier in their careers.
That's actually a good thing, because you're seeing these guys in the infancy stages of what usually is going to be a pretty good career, especially when you're drafted high like Andrew Vaughn. I mean, you're talking about a guy in the first round, the 3rd pick in the draft. So when you're 1-3, you've got stardom stamped all over you. It doesn't guarantee you anything. It just means that a lot of people thought you were good enough to be drafted there and given a whole lot of money to sign.
Fouled away, 3-2, another full count for the Sox today. Yeah, it's a combination of what you've done to this point and your projectability. We don't talk about projectability in other vocations enough, right? Like, we don't talk about the projectability of bankers.
Or an accountant.
Yeah.
Does he project to be most likely to be incarcerated or a good accountant?
3-2. Oh, thought maybe something would happen to freeze that conversation inconveniently before I asked you to name who you might be discussing. Three and 2 to Vaughn. Hutchison reaches back. Andrew hits a dart down the left field line and foul.
Before every Bulls game, the fun starts before tip-off with Bulls pregame live. Tonight, join Jason Goff and Will Perdue as they get us ready for the Bulls and Hornets. Coverage starts at 6:30 on NBC Sports Chicago. A losing ball for the year is a very bad blow for the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, that team, when it was fully together, was as electric as anybody in the NBA. As Candelario makes a play, and that'll do it for the top of the 6th. Sox still have a lead on opening day. On the opponent, we call it opposition research. The last time the Sox played in Detroit on opening day, those logos were intact, and the Sox won 7-5. The great Pete Ward with a home run. Nellie Fox was 2 for 4, and another great that we just lost, Al Kaline, 2 for 5 that day.
And Rocky Colavito would have not been here if not for being traded from the Indians. And unfortunately, our cameras were there to record this. Chris Withers was in the truck. 1913, a snowstorm here.
That looks treacherous.
Yeah, not great.
You get a snowstorm like that today, you're probably not going to play.
Most likely not.
Here's Kyle Crick out of the Sox bullpen. We saw him in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago. A non-roster invitee who made the big league club out of spring training. You have a Lucas Giolito update for us.
Yes, unfortunately, Lucas left with abdominal tightness. And unfortunately, that one hit Grossman to lead off the inning, which is something that ahead of what is the best part of this order you don't want to do. So Crick throws a slider that gets part of the uniform. Abdominal tightness can mean a whole lot. It did mean that Lucas's outing today was a bit shorter than we would have liked, and probably he would have liked, because he was just starting to get everything together. Retired the last 4 men he faced. Only gave up the 1 hit through 4, but if we get another update, and probably not going to get it today, they'll probably wait to evaluate to see how he comes out of this evening. We will let you know, certainly.
How about if I share your phone number and then you can have people call you all night to see if you got an update?
Well, I think that's a splendid plan.
Like when Tim almost gave out my phone number during our spring training telecast. That was a pleasure.
That was a good plan.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So Giolito 4 innings. Bennett Sousa 1 inning, 3 batted balls and 3 outs. And now Kyle Crick trying to keep the Tigers quiet here. Meadows is a dangerous cat. There is power in that baseball bat. And now Crick spins in a slider.
And unfortunately, when you have a right-handed pitcher who throws a low 3/4 delivery, hitters see it all the way. And normally, left-handers have a good time with that. Let's see if Meadows can hit one on the ground to the right side, where 3 defenders await to try to flag anything down.
Kyle Crick is about 3 out of every 5 pitches are sliders. He's slider, 4-seam fastball. There's another slider. 2 balls, 1 strike. 2 former Pirates here. Meadows, 9th overall pick of Pittsburgh. Suddenly it's 9 years ago he was their 1st-round draft pick. Kyle Crick was part of the Andrew McCutchen deal with the Giants a couple of years back. Grossman at first, 2-1. Meadows locked up and took a strike. You would figure the matchup next with Baez and a righty-righty slider pitcher would not be a bad one for Kyle Crick. Another slider, and it's wayward. 3-2. Opening day in Detroit. Sox have led throughout with a run in the first and 2 in the second. See if Grossman runs here. He does. On the ground wide of first.
Well, Grossman is one of the guys in this lineup that will run and run consistently. Not the fastest guy around, but he gets a good break, good first step acceleration, which is essential for a base stealer. And he's going to steal in the neighborhood of 20+ bags this year.
He has 57 career steals, but 20 of them came, exactly 20 came last year. The wind picks up on 3-2. It's outside. It's ball 4. And for the first time today, Detroit has 2 runners on at the same time.
Today's game is brought to you by Marquette Bank. Marquette Bank is Chicagoland's trusted neighborhood bank and home lender. Good for you and your community. Check out Marquette Bank at emarquettebank.com. Marquette Bank. Love where you bank.
Ethan Katz out of the dugout for the first time this year. He will talk to Kyle Crick. And so what I would ask you is, what is your sequencing here to Javi Baez?
Well, if you're a 60% slider pitcher, 60% or more, you're going with that certainly. But the main thing that you want to do is make sure that you keep it down. Because Baez, being a veteran player, realizes you got a pitcher on the mound who struggled with his control. He's going to go up there like he does so very often and just look for the first pitch. The reason being, just about every time a pitching coach goes out there, he gives his pitchers something, and it ends with get the ball over the plate.
Yeah, so my question to follow up on that is, you know Javi Baez is prone to swing at sliders that are away and out of the zone. How do you not overshow it to him here? Or is it possible?
I don't think it's possible to overshow it. I think that when that is the mainstay of your repertoire, you have to go with it.
Kyle Crick to Baez.
It's a very dangerous hitter when you fall behind.
Time call before this next pitch. That's the slider, and that's the type of swing you can get, right?
Yeah, it's really an awkward swing, but he's guessing fastball all the way, and that one wasn't a fastball. It looked like a strike for a while, and Baez could not check up his swing.
Ball and a strike.
Kendall Graveman loosening in the pen.
Crush to left field. Eloy is there on the warning track. Well, if you could grab the tongs and pry your heart out of your throat, you're welcome to do so.
Yeah, he didn't miss that one by much. That one he caught off the end of the bat, so it looked a whole lot better leaving the bat than it was, and it was slider. And we'll watch it. Watch the bat. This is a hanging slider up in his eyes. Crick is very lucky to be able to get away with that. Javi knows he didn't get a whole lot of it, but just missed hitting it out. He'll find here when he pulls the ball, it's a lot different than it was at Wrigley Field because it's not near as far down the line. You can get it out here down the line. So for Crick, that's going to be it. Kendall Graveman's going to come in. He'll inherit a couple of base runners, and as he trots in, we'll step out. Lineup in banking, see Lakeside Bank at Halstead and Pershing. Great offers. Your own banker. Lakeside Bank. It's about time.
It's about time that was over. It used to be shorter.
It was. It was a more succinct read, but now it gives me a chance to expand things as Kendall Graveman comes in. As the Sox expanded their bullpen with the acquisition of Graveman last year, between Seattle and Houston, he was awfully good. The ERA at 1.77. You look at the rest of the numbers, they're very impressive. And he inherits a couple of base runners. He'll be looking at Candelario, who is a switch hitter. He'll face him from the left side.
So Kendall Graveman joining the White Sox. If you don't know about his stuff, he's top 10% in baseball in fastball velocity. Sinker at 96, 97 last year. He'll strike you out, certainly. And he is a very good teammate from everything we have heard about him, coming from Seattle, Toronto, etc., Oakland, Houston. Ball one to Candelario. Meadows at first, Grossman at second, one down in the sixth. And Yasmani Grandal is going to go out along with Leori Garcia. And what do we have going on here? Tony La Russa is out of the dugout. The umpires are all coming in as well. Are we having a check of Kendall Graveman here?
It looks like they're looking at his cap.
Maybe a pitch comm issue.
Could very well be. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's got to be a pitch comm issue. They just handed something to Tony La Russa. I didn't see what got transferred, but that was odd to see all four umpires come in.
Maybe they just blocked communication down to the field. There could be a conspiracy here, you know.
Somebody jammed the radar.
Could very well be.
Only one man would give me the raspberries. 1-0. It's a fastball and a strike, 1-1. Okay, so there's a volume piece.
Hello? Hello?
One ringy dingy.
Man talking to his cap.
This new age of baseball is...
It's really good, especially when things don't work.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Then you get to go back to the regular signs.
Look, there's always beta testing with every new technology, right? You don't know what you're going to get into. 2-1. The way it developed was just odd. You know, you get one infielder coming in, one umpire comes in, then they all come in, and everybody's sort of looking around. That would have been a good time to get Marvin Hudson on the old microphone to tell us what was going on.
He could have explained that, certainly.
2-2. Big at bat to Candelario. Grossman at second, Meadows at first. And the Sox up 3-0 on opening day. And time call. You don't want your hat to turn into a slot machine. Things start falling out of it. Off the fists, fouled away. Still 2-2 on Candelario, who's flied out to Robert twice today. Last strikeout was in the third. It was Javi Baez. As you see the clouds that sort of look rather like Gotham City beyond the skyline in Detroit and right. Two.
Ooh, that was a pretty good pitch. Did not get the call from Marvin Hudson.
I think it was Kendall that yelled no.
It's one of those pitches, I believe, that if Yaz had set up inside, he probably would have gotten the call.
3-2 from Kendall Graveman. On the ground, hard hit enough and through. The Tigers are on the board. It's an RBI single for Candelario. Meadows to third, and it's now 3-1.
Well, you knew it at the time, and the plays up the middle in that 5th inning that stopped the Sox from scoring another couple of runs now are looming large. It's a 2-run deficit. Candelario takes that one back up the middle. The hit batsman and Grossman comes to score. Only the 2nd hit of the day for the Tigers plates the 1st run.
And now suddenly, Graveman's sinker and the speed of Miguel Cabrera become important here. A ground ball would be mighty fine for the Sox new reliever, Kendall Graveman. Meadows at third, Candelario checked at first. Yet again, for the 150th consecutive baseball season, the throw to first is not well received by the home crowd when it's done by the visitors. Once again, the throw to first showered with praise.
Fans certainly love that.
Oh, they can't get enough of it.
I don't think Candelario is much of a base stealing threat.
Question is, would they put him in motion on a hit and run sort of scenario? Looper to short. Garcia lets it bounce. Backing up on it, and Harrison's throw is wide. Or they're going to call an out at second base at first as well because of the slide at second.
He overslid the bag.
So it's a double play. They're going to wipe out the run. No run. The slide by Candelario ruled illegal by the second base umpire John Tumpain. And the Sox will get out of the inning with a 3-1 lead. So the out at second was a clean one. The slide by Candelario was not. And the inning ends on a double play through this slide that you're going to see right here.
A terrific break. Candelario goes up and over the bag and runs into Josh Harrison. It was just a terribly late slide. I don't believe it was anything dirty, but it was a late slide, and the throw was well off the mark. But right here is where you call 2 and out of the inning. call was confirmed on the field. It was 2 and out of the inning. A.J. Hinch is still out there talking. We'll watch it again. It's a late slide that kind of forced him to go up and over the bag. And although the throw was pretty well off before he absorbed the contact, the rule states that you do something like that, they call the man out at first base. So the run is taken off the board. The inning is over. And fortunately, Harrison does not come up with a knee injury, because that's what you fear. That's why they're trying to protect the pivot man.
That's why you over bias the rule to, yes, the throw had been off already. However, you want to wipe that out of the game. The key to that play, though, with the rule, in my understanding, based on the 1 triple play that we saw in Baltimore, the Sox turn a couple of years ago, is that if there's a viable play at first base, you can call that out. Now, if the runner had already crossed first base, it's my understanding that most umpires wouldn't call that out, even though you want to take the slide out of the game. But the Sox had an opportunity at a double play.
Well, look, the whole thing was set up because of the terribly late slide by Candelario. Because 2 things happen when you do that. Number 1, you risk injury, especially to your lead foot when you jam it into the bag. And number 2, because you hit the bag so hard, you roll over. And that idea of rolling the pivot man, which used to be very fashionable in baseball, that is out of the game right now. And the reason is that because he's unprotected, you risk tearing up that knee and being lost for the season if you tear some ligaments in that knee. So in that respect, the late slide got everything else going, and we've got a new Tiger pitcher. It's a 2-run Sox lead, courtesy of Candelario and the interference that took him out of the inning. Alex Lang comes on. We saw him last year a couple of times. 36 games, ERA just over 4. These days, that's not bad. 39 strikeouts in 35 2/3. That's not bad either. You look at the rest of the numbers, he gets out left-handers better than he gets out right-handers, and that's somewhat surprising.
Berger, Pollock, and Robert coming up. Check swing and a strike. I could see how Tiger fans would watch that replay and not like the call, but for me, that's the right call, and I think for you too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, you're protecting the pivot man at second base, regardless of who that pivot man is, and you get a defenseless guy, because when you're concentrating on the throw, in this case, you're getting from shortstop. You're concentrating on that, and then you're worried about getting the throw off. You're not concerned about the runner.
There's very much a quarterback sliding vibe to that sort of play. You're basically opening up your body. You're giving yourself up to the possible out, and that makes it more dangerous. So, and a nice sell job by Josh Harrison as well.
Any contact at all, you just fall down like somebody hit you with a polo mallet.
Can I ask, over under 2.5, how many times that happened? And you all can place your bets if you want at home. Over under, you taking the points on that? How many times you get hit with a polo mallet?
Well, not a whole lot, but it sure helps.
Berger to left, and 1 gone.
Time now for the momentum changer, presented by First Midwest Bank.
It's a polo mallet.
You like banks? We got banks for you. It's A.J. Pollock having quite a day in this, his first ever regular season game with the White Sox. He's got a couple of hits. He's 2 for 3. He scored a run, a double and a single, and a fine day defensively.
He can cover a lot of ground in the outfield.
No, he's very good regardless of where he plays, and he's not even used to right field. I mean, this is a guy that was a center fielder by trade, came up, played a whole lot of left field. Played 1 major league game, I believe, in right field, and he looks like he was born there. Imagine being born in right field.
I was going to say the stories you could tell. We had to stop the game and all. Into left field. A.J. Pollock has had quite the debut. Wasn't it? He was 3 for 4 in his 1 other game in right field in his major league career. So he's a killer in right.
He's an outstanding right field hitter. And he's 3 for 4 today.
It's his 2nd career start in right, his 7th career game in right. And in those starts, he's a combined 6 for 8 in my recollection.
I would say keep him there. He'll probably lead the league.
I think Tony's going to do that just for that reason, Steve. Here's Luis. Smoked a ball off Hutchison back in the 5th. The bracing Midwest chill of Detroit this Friday afternoon has led to Steve going layer upon layer upon layer.
I decided that today was going to be one of those days where if we could avoid the rain, you would consider it a successful day.
Well, you made it through the rain and you got yourself protected.
Yes. Relatively protected.
You made it through the rain and you kept your point of view.
And the added advantage of a heater up here.
It's true. It's notably pointed one specific direction.
Well, you're young enough where you don't need any heat.
I think it's got a Cy Young magnet in it. It just keeps gravitating closer and closer to you on the right side of the booth.
Well, you know, us seasoned citizens have a tendency to break things if it's too cold. So
0-2, dives in the dirt, 1-2.
Nice stop by Barnhart, and he shows you why he's won a couple of Gold Gloves. I mean, great mobility. You see the slider in the dirt. He comes over, makes sure the ball doesn't get by him. You don't want to slide out too far because that ball is going to come back toward the plate. But he did it just perfectly. And this is a great addition to their team because he's going to help a lot of their young pitchers.
Alex Lang being one of them, former LSU right-hander. Foul of third. Remember Alex Lang last year? He came up and very early in his Tigers career. He had that game. It was like 12 or 13 straight balls he threw against the Sox.
Yep.
Control was really a problem for him early. Pollock at first, 1-2. He just extended the lead by another step. And Robert wands this ball to right. Robbie Grossman read it after the first step and 2 down.
Baseball is back. Now through April 11th, customers can score free MLB TV at tmobile.com/MLB. It's really wonderful, and the reason being that you can see any game you want to see. You can see any feed you want to see. Why, of course, you wouldn't want to see ours, I don't know, but the promo says, get it. If you get it, you're going to love it.
Well done. You double promoed that.
Thank you. I'm very excited about that.
I know. It was coming right through the microphone. There's one other game going on that's deep. There are a couple others that have just started. Bottom 7 in New York. Boston leads the Yankees 4-3. And I'm sure if the Yankees can't come back and win this game, it'll be fire Aaron Boone. Midway through last year, he was as good as gone to just about everybody on 191st Street.
And don't give that contract to Aaron Judge.
Oh, yeah. No, they just missed the deadline, I was told, before this game.
But you would believe that they are going to get that resolved.
You would have to imagine. Oakland and Philadelphia just underway. Baltimore and Tampa Bay are playing as well. John Means pitching on opening day for the O's, who have a really tough division to deal with. And the opening day starter for Tampa Bay is Shane McClanahan.
Got good stuff.
I thought you were going to say Baltimore would rue the day.
No.
You wouldn't do such a thing. Jose walked and scored in the first. The Eloy Jimenez RBI single. Tight game, 3-1 in the 7th. Yeah, he went around. He didn't want to. And the inning's over. First Sox strikeout since the first inning in stretch time. Close one in the opener. Sox with the lead, and the Tigers mascot Paws leading the crowd and singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Our Discover Card matchup. A look at tomorrow afternoon's starting pitchers, and you see Freddie Mercury suiting up for the Sox. Dylan Cease is 11-0 career against Tigers.
And Casey Mize is 0-6 against our Sox. So it looks to be a mismatch. It's not going to be. It's going to be a really good ball game. Two very young, talented pitchers going head-to-head, and the Sox would love to be able to greet that particular game at 1-0.
Yeah, certainly. Up 3-1 right now, and you see the strikeouts on sliders last year for Dylan Cease, and how important that pitch is to Dylan. You see his slider, and the typical break on it is well above major league average. It is a very sharp slider, and a key pitch we'll watch in tomorrow's game.
When he commands it, he wipes out a whole lot of hitters, especially the right-handers. But it's so good that right-handers and left-handers, they just don't get a good shot at it. So we saw signs last year of Dylan Cease coming of age as a major league starting pitcher, and we should see him take the next step this year.
It'll be Giolito, Cease, Kopech, the three starters in this Tigers series, and the off day. And the Mariners are in town. Seattle trying to squeeze in 4 games against Minnesota, and they've added the 4th one that was supposed to be yesterday, has now gone to Monday. No longer an off day for Seattle. They'll finish with Minnesota on Monday and then head to Chicago after that game.
They got a talented young team, and they certainly added due to the divestment of the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, Eugenio Suarez, among others. It's a hot fastball for Scope, ball one.
Yeah, Winker and Suarez came over in that deal, and both, one a quality right-hand hitter, the other quality left-hand hitter. They're both going to help the Seattle Mariners.
Look out on deck. Akil Baddoo had to bail. I feel like if we invented the on-deck circle again, it wouldn't be nearly as close to home plate, as Garcia heaves it along to first for out number one. Now a message from WebEx by Cisco.
Whether it's from boardrooms, crowded rooms,
Claro que sí.
and soon from rooms you aren't even in, T-Mobile uses WebEx to hybrid work.
Hey, hon.
Because we make it work for everyone.
He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. Our entire crew, Chris Withers, Andrew Blaustein, Chris Kampka back in Chicago, producer, director, associate producer, our entire wonderful White Sox on NBC Sports Chicago staff, and we are so glad to have you along with us for what we hope is another White Sox AL Central championship season.
Well, it's going to be an exciting year, and it'll be a whole lot more exciting when all of the guys who are currently not healthy come back and round out this baseball team. Because this is a tough lineup now. It's going to be a whole lot tougher. It's going to start in the third game of this series when Tim Anderson comes back to assume his rightful spot leading off and playing shortstop. And hopefully Yoan Moncada will come back in the not too distant future. The speculation is 3 weeks. He's got a rib cage issue, an oblique problem.
Popped up Berger and Garcia, and it's to short for out number two. And now this from Steve.
Hey, White Sox fans, and we know you all are. Turn to and join the millions who are already saving by adding Xfinity Mobile to their internet. An unbeatable connection only from Xfinity. I'm just starting to warm up to this internet stuff.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yeah. I got lots of things to watch this year.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What are you watching now? Say the baseball game.
The baseball game right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Kendall Graveman, by the way, real quick, Kendall Graveman's got good stuff.
No, well, I think this was a great addition. I mean, a lot of people might not have known a whole lot about him, but when you looked at his stuff, first of all, when I thought he burst on the scene with Oakland, I thought he was going to be a quality major league starter. I love the stuff, although he wasn't known as that hard of a thrower, but everything moved. And then when he moved into the bullpen, he added a few miles an hour, and now you got the same movement, but you have it at 96, 97 miles an hour, which leads to a lot of ground balls and a lot of weak contact.
One from Graveman. That's right there, a strike. 1-2, caught the corner on the slider. Dropped it in, same spot. Torkelson didn't like either of them. And Kendall Graveman has come in and done a number on the Tigers.
You would have to say he restored order.
This guy will try and create chaos next.
Volkswagen, and there's only 161 more of them.
Can't fit them all on the screen.
Yeah, fortunately, time constraints and space restrictions mean that we can only show you a few. So 2 more here in Detroit, and then the off day on Monday, and then Seattle comes to town, followed very closely by Tampa Bay. It's going to be a great first homestand. 2 very good and talented teams coming to town. So you can see this edition of 2022 White Sox, a very good team up close and personal, and you can see him pretty quickly as we look at Jacob Barnes, a hard throwing guy who's been around with a few different clubs. Last year, you see what he did.
Out of Chris Sale's alma mater, Florida Gulf Coast, down in Fort Myers, as the 8th inning's brought to you by the Illinois Lottery. Look, the Mariners and Rays homestand, you could argue, could easily be playoff previews in April.
Well, there is no doubt that all 3 of those teams believe they're going to get there. Tampa Bay because they have a history of getting there. The Sox because they've won a couple of playoff games and they've gotten to the playoffs 2 straight years. And Seattle because they feel it's their time. They haven't been there in quite some time.
A lot of young talent. Julio Rodriguez, Jared Kelenic. 2 balls and a strike to Grandal, who walked on a full count pitch in the first. Sox have a 5-man bench, a 4-man bench today, I should say, with Tim Anderson suspended. McGuire and Sheets from the left-hand side available as Grandal takes ball 3.
And here's where you're just thinking about one thing. It's a 2-run game. It's getting late and you're ahead in the count. Yaz is thinking about hitting a home run.
Three and one's a good time to do it.
Ooh, took one right down the middle. That was a middle fastball.
Takes a pass at this ball to center, and Akil Baddoo. Round number 1. Sox fans, you can completely customize your 2022 season with a 10-game ticket plan that fits your schedule and budget. Don't miss any of the action to come. For more information, go to whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000. 312-674-1000, or you scan the QR code right there.
Where?
On the TV screen. Not everybody's looking at promo copy in their monitors at home.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, that ball was a knuckleball out to Baddoo in center field. He almost got fooled by it, and if you're going to take it out to center at 420 feet, that's really big boy territory. You got to crush it, especially with the temperatures today.
Yeah, there's certainly a chill in the air, and it's gotten cooler as the game's gone on.
Yep.
420 out there, just beyond the grass, and just prior to the grass.
It's out there.
Eloy on the ground is short. Baez swept down by Torkelson.
The Sox are back, and so is Homewood Flossmoor's other favorite son, Chuck Garfien. Join Chuck and company before every Sox games because they're really entertaining. Tomorrow, Gordon Beckham is in studio. Coverage starts at 11:30 right here on NBC Sports Chicago.
The promo actually says that too. I thought you ad-libbed that.
No, I would never say that.
Who's writing that? I'm
probably
the other
somebody
guy.
from Homewood Flossmoor.
But Chuck and I are both the other guy to Ben Bradley or Lawrence Holmes.
Seems like a lot of people were from there, though.
It's true.
Yeah.
TJ Cummings.
Did you guys all graduate?
We all combined to graduate once. Ball 1 to Leori Garcia, who lined out hard to Torkelson on a beautiful diving play last at bat in the 6th.
Well, the rains have started to fall ever so gently.
Steve Stone weather on the ones, still awaiting a sponsor this year. Predominantly a well-pitched game so far.
Well, I would say as far as the Sox are concerned, they've limited the Tigers to just 2 hits. This is a pretty good, solid Tiger lineup.
Baez sprints out, and he's going to leave it to Meadows. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Barnes. Sox will try to retort with a quick bottom 8th. Jimenez with 2 out in the first inning, an RBI single. It was 1-0 after back-to-back walks by Abreu and then Grandal, and then these 2 hits.
Things are looking pretty good so far as A.J. Pollock is having quite a game. Luis Robert also quite a game with a couple of hits. Sox on top by a pair.
Lucas Giolito
was very good today.
In stereo.
Yeah, he was still good.
He left with abdominal tightness. And Jeimer Candelario, the most recent run-scoring play in this game, it was an RBI to bring Grossman home. Maybe the biggest play of this game was the double play that was turned because of an illegal slide at second base by Candelario that got the Sox out of that 6th inning.
Yeah, because otherwise it's a 1-run ball game and that inning is still alive. Turns out it's a 2-run game, and Aaron Bummer comes on.
The expected batting average against Aaron Bummer for the league last year was 180.
And he had one of those years where he pitched in a lot of tough luck because he was giving up a lot of choppers in the infield that literally nobody could make a play on. At exit velocity of 2.
Yeah, school zone fairness. There's a strike to Haas, who pinch hits for Tucker Barnhart. Eric Haas, who we have seen put a charge into some baseballs in his Tiger career, including 22 of them last year. Down a couple of strikes to Bummer. Well, with Crochet being injured, this is a big year for Aaron Bummer, being a 7th, 8th inning guy all year long, and a guy you're going to need outs from.
Yeah, certainly the left-handers a little scarce in the bullpen for the Sox. Bummer's one of the better left-handers in all of baseball.
Yeah, I'm not saying he was like a situational lefty or anything last year, but he was always one of the guys in a loaded bullpen. Now Aaron is one of the main dudes in this bullpen.
Well, he, Graveman, and Kelly probably are the 3-headed setup men to get it to Liam Hendricks.
Slider low, 2-2 for Haas. It's Grossman and Meadows to follow. Inside, 3-2.
Yeah, one of the things that no pitcher wants to do is get ahead 0-2 and then have the inability to get anything else over the plate, so you run the count full.
There you see the expected batting average. That has been a yearly thing for Aaron Bummer. Just not good contact against him and a lot of strikeouts that are available for him. 3-2. There's a strikeout, a sinker tickling the edge of the zone. Haas didn't like it, one gone.
We'll take another look. Very good pitch, well caught by Yaz as he takes what appears to be a low fastball, brings it back into the zone. It happens quickly enough. This one looked to be a strike all the way, however. It just barely ticked the strike zone. Yaz made it look a whole lot better than that, but as you can see, 93 on the black usually will get you out.
And it did. And a big first out, and here is Robbie Grossman, who was hit and scored last time.
It's only one thing can stop Aaron Bummer this year, and that is his command. Because when he's throwing it in the zone, he is really difficult to square up.
There's a strike, bottom of the zone, 1-1. Eloy's not going to get there. It's a one-out single for Grossman. Check in with the studio, see what's coming up on Subaru White Sox post-game live. It's Ozzie, it's Frank, and it's Chuck. Thank you. Thank you, Chuck, Ozzie, and Frank. And look, there'd be nothing nicer than a double play ball right here from that Aaron Bummer sinker.
Well, he can certainly do that, and Meadows is not the fastest guy around.
He does hit a lot of fly balls, though.
Might be a little something different on that slider from Bummer, however.
Look, I mean, that slider you're talking about will really tie people up.
That in a headset.
Meadows just does not hit very many ground balls, though. I mean, last year, 28%, 2020, 27%. League average is 45%. He has a big-time fly ball swing. Two and one. Long sleeves for everybody in the crowd for Aaron Bummer on a chilly day that the Sox would love to have be win number 1 of a long season. 2-1. That's downstairs. 3 balls and a strike with Baez next.
One of the biggest pitches of the ball game is right here, because you have the heart of the order coming up. You have the right-handed Baez, the switch hitting Candelario, and then Cabrera and Scope, both right-hand hitters.
No sir, ball 4. Third walk for Meadows today from the 2 spot. 2 on with 1 out. And Sox fans, today is the last day to lock in your summer outing with our Diamond Suite Flash Sale. Get up to 40% off a 20-person suite to select games and take advantage of the customizable menu, scoreboard message, parking passes, and more. For more information, visit whitesox.com/flash sale today as Ethan Katz goes out to the mound in a huge spot here with Baez looming.
This is one of the reasons why they signed Javier Baez, to hit in situations like this. Last time up, he swung at a high pitch, almost took it out of the ballpark to left field. Marvin Hudson goes out there to break up the conclave on the hill. Ethan Katz has given whatever advice he wants to give to Aaron Bummer.
Now Baez, unlike Meadows, does have a pretty tall ground ball rate. He's 47% for his career. 2 on, 1 out. Strike 1. He pumped him a slider, 0-2.
That was a good late breaking slider, and Baez, who's never had a hit against Aaron Bummer, falls down in the count. Just before he went up there, Scott Coolbaugh, the hitting instructor of the Tigers, went and had a word with Baez. He wanted to tell him, I think, what he should look for. Baez hasn't seen Bummer all that much.
Yeah, just a couple of crosstown games.
Yeah.
1-2 for Baez. Grossman at second, Meadows at first. Sox led 3-0 after 1.5. Tigers scored 1 in the 6th. One-two, fouled away.
That one stayed in the middle of the plate a little longer than Aaron would have liked. Fortunately, Baez fouled it straight back. Normally when you do that, it means you're right on it.
Aaron's little leg kick after the pitch suggested to me that was not at all what he was trying to do.
No, he got way too much of the plate with that. You got a guy up there who swings at most everything. You don't mind throwing a slider or even a good sinker just out of the zone down.
They're chanting Javi, even though they've just met. To left field on a line. It's a base hit. Stop sign at third for Grossman. The bases are loaded for the Tigers and Candelario.
Now we'll take a look at pitch by pitch, and there's a couple that Aaron Bummer did not want to make. That one, bottom of the strike zone, that was the best slider he threw in the sequence. He missed with a slider. That slider had too much of the plate, and that was a cutter that just didn't do a whole lot. Baez reaches out, takes it into left field, so the bases are loaded. In a situation where you got Candelario from the right side, where he'll be a step or two slower. A ground ball most likely will yield 2, but first things first, you got to get that ground ball.
Strike 1 to Candelario, who drove in a run in the 6th.
He's trying to get that ground ball to the left side because he threw that cutter right in on his hands. Same location might yield that ground ball to third base.
That almost grazed him. Would have been 3-2. A sticky situation, certainly here in the 8th. Tigers have made it very thorny on Aaron Bummer with 2 singles and a walk. And now Bummer takes a journey behind the mound for a moment. Two and 1. Tigers have Gregory Soto warming in the bullpen just in case, if they have something to close in the top of the 9th. Smoke foul, 2-2.
Threw a good fastball on the outside part of the plate. Candelario could not get around on it. Soto is a very good closer. Throws awfully hard. Everything moves. The only problem he's had is that he's averaged over 5 walks per 9 innings, and that really has done him in at times.
Some of this crowd standing now on opening day in Detroit. That strike 3 called, even though it clipped off Yasmani's glove, and 2 down in the inning. Marvin Hudson liked it enough.
Well, that's called a backdoor slider by Aaron Bummer. Left-hander to a right-hand hitter, you try to shave off the outside corner. And I think if this one were caught, it would have looked a whole lot better. I thought it was a touch outside. Maybe, I mean maybe just ticking the outside part of the plate. Certainly too close to take in a situation like that.
It was in the exurbs of the strike zone. It's still part of the community. So 2 down. And now we shall see Tony La Russa out of the dugout. Miguel Cabrera is the batter.
I would assume maybe Liam here.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me,
I mean,
too.
You're looking at a 4-out save. And the game on the line late. So as Aaron Bummer walks out, the bases are loaded. Will step out. Drama on the horizon.
13 days. Got a list full of names. Now they're all gonna pay. You can try to run and hide. Don't forget revenge is mine. Hope you remember in the end.
Lakeside Bank call to the pen. It is Liam Hendricks with no margin for error. The bases are loaded. It's a two-run game late. Surefire Hall of Famer facing Liam Hendricks, Miguel Cabrera, who's had a tough day today. Hendricks is hoping that continues, and a lot of pressure will fall to Yasmani Grandal to block any slider that Liam throws. There you look at the numbers from last year, and they were spectacular for Liam.
The AL leader in saves, the best in the business in the relief corps to shut the door. First pitch, and Cabrera in the air, center field and down. Roberts up with it. The Tigers have tied the ball game on the first pitch to Miguel Cabrera. We're even at 3 in the 8th.
Well, unfortunately, now Cabrera's 6 for 13 lifetime against Hendricks. First ball fastball, doesn't get a whole lot of it, but gets enough to muscle it into center field. And now to a roaring ovation, Cabrera will leave the ball game 12 hits shy of the 3,000 mark.
29.88 of his career. And it's a tie ball game, and it's up to Jonathan Scope against Liam Hendricks. That hit him. Hit by pitch, bases loaded. So Reyes along to second. Scope to first, Baez at third, and now there's nowhere to put Akil Baddoo.
This ball buzzes inside, and if you come away without a fracture on that, you consider yourself very fortunate.
So here, Detroit has tied the game in the 8th. In New York, the Yankees have tied the Red Sox in the bottom of the 8th inning. Tight ball games all around in Major League Baseball this afternoon. And it's Akil Baddoo with 2 out and the bases loaded, and he has to duck under ball 1. There's not a lot of time for Liam to find his control. Check swing, strike 1.
There's a break, because it's very easily 2-0 if he just doesn't move the bat at all. That one was up and out of the strike zone. We'll take another look. This is a look that Ryan Blakeney has. Very close.
Very close.
Went the Sox way.
Now Liam may have found the ears. A high fastball, 1-2. Baddoo has been great with him loaded in very short work. Hendricks 1-2. Tie. Well, if this is what the season is going to be like, hold on to your hats and other accessories.
Well, I would think it's going to be a whole lot like this.
A lot of tight ball games.
Especially until you get all the injured players back.
2-2. On the ground at third. Berger steps on the bag, and that'll do it. So the Tigers tie the game. Nothing else. We'll go to the ninth. Josh Harrison will lead it off. Whole new deal.
Inning, and the closer, Gregory Soto, is in the game. We told you about the hard-throwing left-hander. He's got a good slider to go with everything else he has. 18 of 19 in save situations last year. The ERA a fine .339. He does throw awfully hard. 76 strikeouts. However, 40 walks. That's been the one problem he's had, is getting the ball over the plate, and Sox are hoping to exploit that here.
If he doesn't throw strikes and you wait him out, he can put himself in the straitjacket. Ball one. Time now for our player profile presented by Liberty Mutual. We told you earlier Josh Harrison was the opening day starter at second base for the Tigers in 2019. Former Pirate. And a pretty emotional pregame for Josh Harrison. There was a pregame moment of silence and video montage for Kamara Barti, the former first base coach for the Tigers, who passed away in the offseason of a brain tumor. And he and Josh Harrison grew close when Barti was in Pittsburgh, and then Josh came here to Detroit. And so certainly a rough day for Josh Harrison, thinking about his friend and former coach, who was beloved here in Detroit. 2-1 to Harrison. 5 straight retired by the Tiger bullpen, and just flipped to left field by Harrison and falling in the glove of Meadows for out number 1.
Josh got that one off the end of the bat, and Meadows made a good play on it.
All right, so you talked about Andrew Vaughn against Aroldis Chapman at Yankee Stadium earlier. Hard throwing lefty.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go up there looking fastball, because otherwise that fastball is going to beat you. The good thing about Andrew is, number one, he hits left-handers. Number two, he can hit the ball out in right center field.
Andrew Vaughn corks this ball to left. Meadows back. This is gone. Hard throwing lefty. Smash out of the ballpark late. Andrew Vaughn does it again. It's 4-3 Sox.
That one hugged the line the whole way, and Andrew Vaughn got what appeared to be a cutter inside. and took it just down the line. The only question, it was going to be far enough. The only question for Ryan Blakeney is, would it stay fair long enough? And this is a cutter inside. Our Ford home run replay. Andrew knows he got all of it. Would it stay fair? It was answered. It would, and the Sox have the lead.
Man, is he deaf to left-handed pitchers. It is unreal what he can do.
You just give him the requisite amount of bats, and he's going to hit all the righties also, because he is going to be a bona fide major league run producer.
Now Soto is a little bit off kilter, and it's 2-0.
That'll shake you up.
Yeah, it will. There's a strike, 2-1 on Berger.
That one also undoubtedly keeps Hendricks in the game. Now he gets to win the game. Not something that closers want, by the way. They don't want wins. They want saves. But when you can't have that, next best thing is wins.
2-2. Yeah, it's better than the alternative. It's better than the loss.
It is better than that. Better than a few things, actually.
It's very true.
Poke in the eye with a sharp stick comes to mind. Better than that, certainly.
Polo mallet to the head.
Oh, that for sure.
Fouled away by Berger. Tell you what, as a replacement for Yohan Moncada, you could do a lot worse than Jake Berger, who has been so resilient. Made his debut last year, and so cool to see him in the opening day lineup after missing basically 3 seasons with the pandemic and 2 injured seasons. 18 and 19 he didn't play. 2020 he was in Schaumburg, and he was part of that collegiate league just for, you know, for a little while just to get at bats.
Things you can't see happening happen in this game all the time. I wonder what Jake, in his wildest dreams, imagined. Would he be starting opening day at third base? Probably not. There's a few guys in that bullpen that probably felt the same way as they expanded to 28 as far as the roster is concerned, and some guys who made teams all around baseball who had no idea they were going to be able to break camp with the big league club.
Takes a walk. Okay. Why not grab a couple more while you're at it?
What happens when a Hall of Fame broadcaster sits down with a Hall of Fame baseball player?
What's that?
Well, find out tonight. Funny you should ask. When Frank Thomas joins Cap on Unfiltered with David Kaplan. Hear what the Big Hurt thinks about the 2022 White Sox and a whole lot more. That's tonight at 6 on NBC Sports Chicago.
All's right in the world now that Cap has a TV show again.
Well, he was very good at the last one. He's good on the radio, and I'm sure he's going to be very good on Unfiltered.
A.J. Pollock has had a great start to his Sox career as he serves this ball down the right field line and foul. 3 for 4 today for A.J. Pollock.
Outstanding effort. He's used the whole field. And I'm pretty much thinking when Soto looks at first base and the lead that Jake Berger has, probably not too concerned about him running.
You don't think?
No. Step and a half lead last time. Not much more than that this time.
He actually shortened the lead as you said that. A.J. on the ground. It's Baez. Quick feed. The turn is there from Scope. It's 6-4 to 3. Liam Hendricks will have a chance to close the door because of this one swing from young Andrew Vaughn. He did it again late against the lefty, and it's 4-3 Sox. Special occasion at the ballpark, we've got you covered. When you lock in a group outing for this season, you get priority to select the biggest matchups and to choose the best space for your group. Scan that QR code right there under the Luis Robert jersey, and you'll get more information. Plus, 312-674-1000 is where you can call or visit whitesox.com. That is very close to the screen on that selfie. That was like screaming into the screen. Liam Hendricks trying to win the game for the Sox. Spencer Torkelson thought he was getting a fastball.
Yes, he did. He was geared up for it, and then the ball just disappeared away. Again, Liam is not the easiest guy to handle, so that slider, a tough one for Yaz.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
I learned this in idle chit-chat today in the clubhouse before the game about Liam Hendricks, that he spends the first couple innings of the game in the hot tub, then comes out into the dugout, stays until the 4th inning.
I frequently do the same thing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Got that in your contract?
Loosens you up.
That's why there's that curtain in front of you, and I can't see you for the first couple innings. Ball and 2 strikes to Torkelson. Yeah, then he goes out to the bullpen in the 5th, because when he went out later than that, he spends the 4th in the dugout, then goes out. When he went out later than that last year, he said he gave up runs every time. So he's a man of superstition in that way, as most pitchers have something like that.
Well, they go with something, and then it works, and then they continue to go with that until it stops working. Then they go with something else. But for the most part, you get what you feel is a winning pattern, and if you follow that pattern and it leads to success, you continue to follow it.
That's why you've been going to the same restaurants for 30 years
and eating the same things.
Struck him out. I believe Spencer Torkelson just used the first word of that phrase. Struck him out. 1 down.
Yeah, he apparently he has seen a lot of video of Liam. And so he goes down on strikes, probably not used to going 0 for 4 too often with a couple of strikeouts, but that's what he's done today. So he's an unhappy man, which leads to a very happy man who's throwing now with 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, we should just turn off the crowd mic for that at bat every time it happens this year. Hendricks versus Torkelson.
Yeah, that'll be a dandy. It's going to be a scream off.
It is. Yikes. Eric Haas, who hit in the 8th inning against Bummer, gets a second at bat here in the 9th. And he's ahead 2-0, and Liam is displeased. Sox were up 3-0. Tigers got 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 8th. Strike, top of the zone or so, 2-1.
Haas has not been particularly happy with the calls of Marvin Hudson. He was called out to lead off last inning. That was a big play, quite obviously, because Tigers came back and scored a pair to tie it up.
Ooh, in the attic. That one's a good one. 2-2. Now, the crowd didn't like that, but that was very much a strike.
Yeah, that had the entire plate and then some.
You go slider here.
I actually would like to throw a high fastball by him.
2-2. Ooh, Liam was leaning.
Yeah, I didn't think he wanted to throw him the slider only because I think he felt he could outguess him, and if that was on the outside corner, he would have. I don't think Haas could pull the trigger here, but that ball was off the outside corner.
3-2. Haas golfs it foul. Wouldn't have it any other way on opening day.
Well, if it ends right here, it will be wildly entertaining.
Three and 2. Hendricks and Haas. Just got a piece. I mean, just got a piece.
Barely hit the top of the baseball to stay alive. We saw last year at times with Haas, he was a really good hitter, but especially good against left-hand pitchers. That's one of the reasons why the Tigers are able to keep 3 catchers. Haas being the third, but he can also play the outfield, so he gives A.J. Hinch a lot of versatility.
Pitch number 8. Haas in the air to left. Eloy is back, and Eric Haas has charged up another baseball. We are tied in the 9th now.
A few too many fastballs in a row, and that one Haas caught up to. Well, the Tigers have come battling back once again. And once again, Leon Hendricks missed his spot, and it cost him.
So now with foreboding clouds beyond the right field wall, Robbie Grossman, who's scored 2 runs and reached 3 times, stands in.
We're getting to the point now where the rains that were scheduled for 5 o'clock might come into play.
Oh, 0-2 for Grossman. There are the ominous dark gray thunderheads. Ball and 2 strikes. With a low ceiling overhead, the Tigers and the Sox tied at 4. If there were a 10th, it would be Robert, Abreu, and Grandal, with A.J. Pollock at second base. The rule putting a runner at second in extra innings is back this year, and why not kick the tires on it on opening day? As the wind picks up and the darkness envelops the ballpark, it's 2-2.
Yeah, there's some storms in the area. Certainly the Sox would love to get out of here, test that 10th inning, because they've got the good part of the batting order up.
Foul wide of first.
This is a real good man to keep off base, because if Grossman does get on, undoubtedly he's going to be stealing.
What a wild game this has become. I mean, it was a pretty solid pedestrian 3-0 Sox lead, then 3-1 into the 8th. And here we are in the 9th as Grossman swings through strike 3 and 2 gone in this 9th inning, as we take you back to what has caused the tie, Steve.
Well, it was location of this fastball. It was the 3rd or 4th fastball in a row, and this one just had too much of the inside corner. We've seen Haas be able to turn on pitches here. I'm not sure if Liam wanted it in that exact spot, but it cost him the tying home run. He doesn't really have to look, because you can tell by the sound that ball is gone.
First pitch breaking ball is off the plate, down to Meadows, who's walked 3 straight times, including what led to a run in the 8th. 1-1. Both teams have deployed their closers.
Neither has been particularly effective.
I wonder if Soto would throw the 10th for the Tigers. They faced 4 batters. I got him at 15 pitches.
Well, depends on if A.J. Hinch thinks he can use him tomorrow.
It's low. Javier Baez is next. Joe Jimenez is the guy getting loose in the Tiger pen.
He's looking for a bounce back after last year. He had some rocky times out there.
3-1. To right field, A.J. Pollock into the gap, and he's not going to get there. That ball's rolling on the warning track, and eventually Meadows throttles down into a triple.
We told you this was a very good triples ballpark. And Meadows is able to take advantage of it. This is a low fastball inside. This is what left-handers would kill for. You throw it low and in to most left-hand hitters, and it's easier to drop the head of the bat on it than it is anything that's upstairs.
So now you got a guy in Baez who swings through sliders, but you have the winning run at third.
You got to be really careful with the slider, and a lot of pressure again to Yaz.
Big cut at 99 and strike one. Everybody knows that opening day is just 1 out of 162, but it feels very tense in here right now.
Threw that fastball by him. I think probably you want to keep it up a little bit higher instead of going down there.
Oh, 1. In the air to right. Pollock is back at the warning track. A.J. Pollock does haul it in. Oh, my goodness. A.J. with a juggling act.
Well,
now the question is, did it clip the wall?
Right, if it hits the wall, then the ball is in play and the game is over. And perhaps, I think Javi is saying, take a look at it. It bounded out of the glove, that's for sure.
I don't think it hit the wall, Steve.
Well, I don't know.
That look.
I mean, it's really close. I think it hit the yellow part of the wall, actually, but I'm hoping that I'm 100% wrong.
Let's see.
Hits the glove. You see where it just dropped right there?
You think it redirected?
I do.
It's tough to see off that look. Listen in. Here's the official review. It's a crew chief review of the challenge of the catch.
Yeah.
It's tough to tell definitively.
It really is. I mean, ideally you would have a better look at it, but I thought it hit the wall personally. It appears that it did hit the wall and that the game is over.
The Tigers are celebrating, but we have not gotten an official announcement. On that first look, I wasn't sure.
Reason why I originally thought that it hit the yellow line, if you watch the flight of the ball, it all of a sudden takes an abrupt downturn.
After review, the rule on the field is overturned. We have no catch, run scores.
That'll do it.
That will unfortunately do it. A tough day for Liam Hendriks, a tough game for the Sox, and the Tigers, in their newly revamped team, come away with a comeback win.
So the Tigers get a pair in the 8th, 2 in the 9th. Here's one more look and a closer look to see. Yeah, it hit behind the glove.
Yeah, to me, it was off the wall the whole way, and that's exactly what they saw in New York, and that's what Marvin Hudson announced to the crowd.
And so with that, Andrew Vaughn's home run in the 9th inning ends up being just the prelude to a Tiger walk-off on opening day in Detroit. Your final thoughts, Steve?
A frustrating game, certainly, but the Sox saw what happened when they put 2 guys on in second and third with only 1 out and could not plate the runs. Sometimes when you don't take advantage of the opportunities afforded you, you come up short. That's exactly what happened today. But we will come right back tomorrow and try to even this season up at 1-1.
Certainly will. Same start time for first pitch, 12:10, 11:30. Our pregame festivities, and the Tigers do walk it off from Comerica Park, and the tarp is already on the field with the rain coming in. So until tomorrow, we say farewell. For our producer Chris Withers, our director Andrew Blaustein, our associate producer Chris Kamka, our tech manager Mark Harper, and our entire wonderful NBC Sports Chicago crew. He's Steve Stone, I'm Jason Benetti. Now to the studio, Subaru White Sox postgame live. Chuck Garfien.